Hey, tea sippers. Hey, 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 hey. Baby, I had to get some tea in the Mo3 sector. Baby. Woo! Baby, I am sorry I'm late. I got enough tea over here, but that tea right there, if that tea right there is the tea of the year. Now, I ain't gonna even lie. I enjoyed that tea because somebody got their face cracked. So where you see that musty, what I put? Did I put musty monkey or musty minka? Yeah. Yeah, if you know, you know, baby. And when I tell you that was delicious, that was an interview with Sean G's fiance with a bad pear-shaped diamond. Looked like it may have been 4 or 5 carats. Pretty young lady. Pretty successful young lady. So, baby, I'm sorry I'm late, but that tea was funny. And people need to stop playing on YouTube. They need to stop calling the police, lying for clout, lying because they got embarrassed, lying because their truth was put out there on display. Baby. And I ain't mad at a Queen 88. I ain't mad at none of that. She did a good live. She cleared up some lies between her and Sean G, which is Mo3's security at that time when he was alive. And baby, I'm so sick of people when they don't get their way trying to call CPS and the police on people. They need to stop that because your feelings got hurt. You know, if you know how and what I know about how these CPS, these different agencies that act like they're there for the kids that are part of the human trafficking and selling and taking kids from their home for organized crime, you wouldn't play like that. You just wouldn't play like that. Hey, Joe. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Gina. Baby, when I tell you it was so funny, and I'm so happy that she would not let her up, and when she did let her up, she wanted to play them games, run all around the hood and stuff, and she shut her down. Y'all, my hands is up in the air like, yes! Yes! I told him in the beginning she wasn't going to be nothing but trouble. And baby, she met her karma today. Because his baby mama fiance didn't care nothing about none of that. And knew what was going on before she went. So like I said some time ago, he Oak Cliff pimped her. Baby, because I was finna take his pimp card away from him if he was gonna let this Baltimore chick play that game with him like that. So I'm gonna move on past that because it was funny as heck. And I got to listen to what's going on, baby, because these streets this time is going to be hot. And I'm going to be entertained with it because she has played with everybody's real life. When people tell you this is just an app, it's more than an app. Yeah, you there. People's real lives get pulled off into this app. It's real people with real life circumstances and situations, real life police calls, real life CPS calls. People are screwing, having babies, they meeting up, all type of stuff. So miss me with it. It's just an app. No. She has real feelings. And guess what? Guess what right now? Her real life feelings are hurt. Cause hell, has it even been a week? Huh? It ain't even been a week. That old boy done left the town she live in, baby, done came home to his fiance with a ring. Hey, Mrs. Tom, but I'm finna move on. Cause I'm 30 minutes late laughing. Auntie P, you laughing at that ass. She was one of the first people on YouTube that I had to tell them about their real life and their home life, and how home people bring their home life, they rugs, they childhood rugs and trauma to YouTube and take it out on people on YouTube. There's no way you can be that vindictive and not evil, conniving, and manipulative and make me believe that that's not in your real life. It's just no way. It just ain't no way. And she got her ass brought to her today. I ain't gonna say head. But baby, when I tell you, it was so embarrassing because his baby mama, his fiance wasn't pressed with none of that. I love that. I love it when can't nobody move you off your throne. You don't care what they say about your dude. I love that. Don't ever let another woman move you off your throne or make you tilt your crown to the left or to the right. No, boo-boo. You stand tall. You stand tall. I was watching everything while he was there. You lied. You pulled him there for business opportunity. You held him down while he was locked up. Yeah, you accepted every last one of them calls. Yeah, because you thought that you was one-upping on the Mo3 sector. Baby, a real woman straighten another crime. Baby, listen. Now, the other girl didn't have a crown. She wanted the crown. She wanted the crown and the ring. Yeah, she thought she was SHITTING on people in the Mo3 sector. Yeah. Yeah, she came in line and starting crap. But shout out to 88. Shout out to her. I ain't mad. I ain't mad about none. I ain't mad about nothing. She said she did it, the interview for the Mo3 sector, and I appreciate that. Set that ass down. And his fiance's pretty young lady. 2 degrees. Fortune, she said every last one of her jobs was Fortune 400. She doesn't give. Oh no, she don't give her crown, baby. She don't even tilt it. She hold her head straight up. You understand? With all type of grace, and that's what that young lady did. Pretty young lady. Well spoken. Very well spoken. She didn't stutter, slip, or nothing. And she just politely told her to go get her another dude. She didn't say dude. She said that pickle. Go get another pickle. Daddy's home. You faked and shaked to get him where he was for a job opportunity coming out of jail. And you didn't even pay the man. Trifling. She got evicted. Y'all better stop faking and shaking on YouTube. Oh, yeah, she been dealt a hand. But I'm going to move on. Gold. Oh, okay, you told me to put the golds up. I'm like, what? What gold? She ain't got no golds. Hold on. Yes. We got to stop faking and shaking. We got to be real, boo. Everybody got circumstances and situations going on in their life, but you don't have to come on here faking and shaking. You don't have to come on here causing havoc in real people's real life because you bitter, because you got mommy reject you issues, fat girl as a kid and never lost the weight in your mind, that ain't somebody else's problem. You need to learn how to lift people up instead of trying to tear them down. I'm trying to get there, Miss Tom. But my system is moving all which and kind of ways. It's spinning here and spinning there. They must be mad at me. Hey, Walter. But I had to go and get that out the way before I get started, baby, because I was plenty tickled. I ain't going to even lie. Oh, I know she's swinging in the air. She's swinging in the air and crying at the same time. That girl called the police on that boy and lied. He not a boy, he a grown man, and lied. I don't respect none of that. And I ain't on here for people to respect me, but I don't respect none of that. And folk need to learn how to get these people together to contact the judicial system and let them know that these people are lying. Bringing them up on charges in different states. Knowing that some of the people are not going to be able to go out of town to defend themselves. But I would have everybody who witnessed the truth be a witness for me online. And all he have to do is ask me to be a witness. I'm going to tell you now. I'm going to say yeah. And I'm going to say she lying about everything. And she bragged about lying. And she bragged about being able to beat the system. So people need to stand up for Sean G in her lies. It don't have nothing to do if I like a person, if a person like me, if I'm cool with them, none of that. Don't let that girl try to get him put back in prison. Because she lying and she bitter and her feelings hurt. Because she damn sure just got her feelings hurt. Scorned. What they say, a scorned woman? Oh, yeah, she's scorned, baby. Straight up scorn. I ain't never in my life been embarrassed like that. Never in my life. Now, I've had to take a phone call or two, yeah, I've had to take a phone call or two back in the day. That's how they be. It's so sad. Oh, yeah, the real Alicia. Yeah. I've had to take a phone call or two back in the day. That military lifestyle. That military, baby. All I'm going to say is if your husband is in the military, go wherever he's stationed. Whether you know anything about the city and state, it's grow up, okay? Grow up and relocate to where your husband is at. I don't care how young you are. That would be my suggestion to anybody. and follow your husband. If you marry young, oh well, you're going to have to move young. Like I said, I've had to take a phone call or two. Okay? Okay. But stand by your man and you hold your head up, baby. You wear that crown. Baby, I could tell y'all a story, but I'm not. Was I married at the time? I got, yeah. Anyway, I've received a phone call before. It's funny. And they will lie. But I was so young, y'all. I was so young. But anyway, That was funny. Anyway, so let me move on to what I got going on right here, child, because it is going to be... And you know, I ain't fond of the military, but did they screw over him? I don't know, but they will screw over. But anyway, let me start off, y'all. Listen. Oh boy, he just getting blow out the blow out the blow out the blow today. Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, her seat has a runoff now. It's a forced runoff. Boy, your ass is in trouble. And this man right here is in that runoff. Military man too. And he playing with the military. Breaking news. Huge news. Democrat Sean Harris forced a runoff election in a special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene's deep red Georgia House seat. Folks, this is massive. A retired U.S. Let me come up on you, sir. Salute to you. RTP, you lip popping. Yes, I am lip popping, baby. It's good. Yes, it says, folks, this is massive. If retired U.S. Army General Sean Harris can flip the seat, can flip this seat. Why does it say red? It should say flip this red seat. It's ucking over for Speaker Mike Johnson. He has one seat majority and will lose it if Harris wins. Trump presidency will come to a screeching halt. Lame duck for 3 years. Wouldn't that be something? Y'all come, Georgia, yeah, get up, vote on this special election. Let's flip this mother on his head. May he land on that bald spot. Absolutely. Flip it. Flip it. Flip, 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 flip it. Sir, we wish you well. We wish your victory. We're going to pray that God bring it through for you. It's time. Come on, y'all. Time to make a change. We are the people who can do it. Oh, it's time. RTP, you bastard. Time to make a change. We are the people who can do it. Yes, it's time to make a change. And we are the people who can do it. Georgia, get up, get out on that special election, replacing Marjorie Taylor Greene, her deep red Georgia House seat. Yes, 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 yes. And let's flip this mother out. What? Let's flip this mother out. He looks delicious. Yeah, ain't gonna lie. Now, yeah, and yeah, he ain't, yeah. I can't say too much, y'all. But he is a nice looking, he got a lot of pins and buttons and stuff. Yeah. Hello. 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 That's what's going on. Now, moving right along, shout out to you. I will have my eye on it, and me and the tea sippers will be watching and cheerleading for you, sir. Sir. Auntie Fee, but you don't never salute to you. What are you? General Sean Harris. Yeah, nah, I normally don't do all that saluting and stuff. But salute to you, sir. Salute to you, General. Leave my uncle. Auntie Fee, I thought you said you don't fool with military folk. I just said salute. I can't salute, what is he? General Harris. I can't salute the man. I done paid my dues to the military, baby. But he retired. See, he went on, got out. Yeah, he went on, got on up out of there. Hey, y'all, come on in and let's move on over to our regular be naive. Ain't that what Scrappy be saying? Be naive. Yeah. That's Bobby Johnson in the Mo 3 sector. Yeah, he go that. Yeah. I'm so tickled, y'all. Ooh wee. What I just witnessed was funny as hell. I ain't gonna even lie. But salute to you, sir. We will be cheering and really praying for you, sir. Yeah, they cheated. Oh, I can't say they cheated her. But they did, you know, play with the redistricting. But she took money from APEC, whatever. And yeah. That should have never, we should have never, yeah. I knew that wasn't going to sit over well for you because it made me feel a kind of way. And I know if it made me feel a kind of way to find out that you took a dime from APEC and then you almost kind of sort of made excuses for Jasmine Crockett, I knew it may have been a wrap for you. Don't vote for nobody, and I do mean nobody, who is taking money from APEC. That means that they are a Lizzie Line Graham. Thumbs up, please and thank you. Okay, let's go. Let's hear here first.
Trust the military thinking of a former real estate developer and a former Weekend Fox host? If given a choice, would you trust the military thinking of a former real estate developer and a former Weekend Fox host, or the thinking of decorated generals and admirals?
Generals and admirals.
Some of the greatest military minds we have just sounded off on Trump and Hegseth. And did one of them speak the near unspeakable phrase, war crimes? We'll see. Let's begin this cavalcade of Army and Navy expertise with a general speaking of chaos, an admiral speaking of high risk and casualties, and then I'll reveal who is suggesting our bone-spurred commander-in-chief is guilty of atrocities.
Lieutenant General Mark Hertling, a retired commander of the U.S. Army Europe.
Their Navy's destroyed, their Army is destroyed. They're not quite yet, but it's close to that. He's done a lot of bombing, so it's going to mean chaos in that country. And we have seen, I was once a war planner on the Joint Staff, and I'll tell you the contingency plans that are on the books in the Pentagon right now, some of the worst case scenarios are when you have chaos and dysfunction inside of the country and it implodes. So what do we have? We don't have a leader. They now have another Ayatollah as their leader. Their army's been severely damaged. The people are confused. You take a look at Tehran right now, and it almost looks like it's heading toward the same thing that's in Gaza.
Now, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired Admiral James Stavridis.
If given a choice, would you trust the military thinking of a former real estate developer and a former Weekend Fox host, or the thinking of decorated generals and admirals? Coming up next, some of the greatest former real estate developer and a former Weekend Fox host, or the thinking of decorated generals and admirals. He's a former Weekend.
Oh yeah.
If given a choice, would you trust the military thinking of a former real estate developer and a former Weekend Fox host, or the thinking of decorated generals and admirals? Coming up next, some of the greatest military minds we have just sounded off on Trump and Hegseth. And did one of them speak the near unspeakable phrase, war crimes? We'll see. Let's begin this cavalcade of Army and Navy expertise with a general speaking of chaos, an admiral speaking of high risk and casualties, and then I'll reveal who is suggesting our bone-spurred commander-in-chief is guilty of atrocities.
Lieutenant General Mark Hertling, a retired commander of the U.S. Army Europe.
Their Navy's destroyed, their Army's destroyed. They're not quite yet, but it's close to that. He's done a lot of bombing. So it's going to mean chaos in that country. And we have seen, I was once a war planner on the Joint Staff. And I'll tell you the contingency plans that are on the books in the Pentagon right now, some of the worst case scenarios are when you have chaos and dysfunction inside of a country and it implodes. So what do we have? We don't have a leader. They now have another Ayatollah as their leader. Their army's been severely damaged. The people are confused. You take a look at Tehran right now, and it almost looks like it's heading toward the same thing that's in Gaza.
Now, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired Admiral James Stavridis. Admiral, the president continues to not rule out the use of ground troops. Secretary Hegseth also said, we're not going to say no ground troops. But if ground troops were to be introduced
hit the like button
in some form or fashion, what exactly do you think the options are there? What are they talking about?
This is high-risk stuff. And, of course, we're all very pleased with the way the Venezuela raid came about, highly precise special forces. But we've had other raids in our past, including in Iran, Desert One, back in 1980, which was a failure. And in Afghanistan, around the time I was in command of that NATO mission, a little before that, we lost 19 special forces, the best of the best, in the high mountains of Afghanistan on a raid after Taliban, frankly, low-level leadership. So these are high-risk operations. They don't always go as smoothly as something like Venezuela. I'm sure the president and the team are weighing all of that.
No doubt about that. Admiral James Stavridis, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
And just a reminder that the admiral who once oversaw the bin Laden mission once said this about Trump. Retired four-star admiral and former Navy SEAL William McRaven on Donald Trump. Through your actions, you have embarrassed us in the eyes of our children, humiliated us on the world stage, and worst of all, divided us as a nation. And now for the biggest shot fired of all. Watch as Lawrence Wilkerson, retired Army colonel, puts Trump on blast with the two words rarely uttered within the ranks.
I come from an administration of George W. Bush and Richard Bruce Cheney that committed war crimes that Colin Powell and his lawyer Will Taft and I agonized over in trying to present some message to the American people about them. This administration has committed more war crimes in the last few days than I think any country since Adolf Hitler committed. And that is an incredible condemnation of this entire process. We have bombed civilians relentlessly. We have bombed a school. We have bombed a hospital. We have struck facilities in the nature of Iran's oil capacity that is now putting black poison all over 10 plus million people. And we are essentially not bombing ballistic missile sites and bombing war materiel. We're bombing people. We took a lesson from the IDF, if you will. We are bombing people, as incidentally they are still doing in Gaza and doing now in Lebanon to a fare thee well. These are all war crimes, and one wishes with fond hope that someday we might be called before the bar of justice and have to account for these war crimes.
Absolutely. The bar of justice
is a crime also in the war materiel. We're bombing people. We took a lesson from the IDF, if you will. We are bombing people, as incidentally they are still doing in Gaza and doing now in Lebanon to a fare thee well. These are all war crimes.
They say all
and one
smoke
wishes with fond hope that someday we might be called before the bar of justice and have to account for these war crimes. And what you just talked about is a crime also in the eyes of international relations and people who want to keep decent international relations ongoing in the world. We're destroying that. And on top of all of that, and this is the real serious problem here for America, Trump and Hegseth and Rubio and the other entourage of their national security complex have completely misjudged the nature of this war, as has to a certain extent
he committed war crimes.
This is a country as big as
I'm glad
Europe,
somebody
with
is
93 million people, probably 90 million of whom will fight us to the bitter death, who live in terrain that almost killed Alexander the Great, It is entirely inhospitable to military operations, and Trump is actually talking about putting ground forces there. And the only way he will be able to claim any nature of victory is to do that. Only that will be the end of the empire's presence in the Levant and the Middle East in general, because we will not be able to sustain that economically, physically. We do not have the soldiers or Marines to do that, but that's what he's talking about. This is pure nonsense.
I appreciate the generals and admirals who call it like they see it. Their voices are so important during this time of chaos and military corruption. And I'll give the final word to General Hertling, who digs deep and speaks of the emotional toll that will be paid as more soldiers are lost to Trump's lawless war.
Yeah, lawless.
The thing that has been recurring in my mind
Nitric acid.
is a lack of seriousness and an understanding of what happens.
Raise your head up.
When
Put
you
your head
put
down, Pop.
America's sons and daughters into harm's way.
Yeah, raise your head up.
Charge into something like this.
Stand
and
in
think
your
that
dirt.
Dropping bombs on a country can win a war, and you don't have significant amount of planning to determine what the end state's going to look like. I've told so many people during my several times in combat, I have a box with 253 cards with pictures of soldiers that were part of our command, that sacrificed, gave their all.
Nonsense, lawless
Every day
war.
I look at that
Absolutely.
box, pull a couple pictures out, and think about where they would be today if they were still alive.
Y'all,
That's
please
kind
hit
of
the like button
seriousness that you
coming
have to take
in.
when you put America's sons and daughters into harm's way, and it has to be for the good of the country. When you've got the kind of polling that we've seen, that you've reported on
War
a nightly
crimes.
basis, that most Americans don't want this, they don't understand why we're doing it. The president hasn't won over the popular support of the nation and the citizens, which is the one of the roles of a president. It tells me we're not very serious about putting those young men and women in harm's way.
Putting them in harm's way.
Donald Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson just received some devastating news that will impact their grip on power, and I have all the details about the House of Cards, that is the House of Representatives, coming up next. At the center of this story is Representative Kevin Kiley. As a Republican, he has not been one of Trump's loyal soldiers. Have a look at these strikes he made against the Mayor McCheese of Mar-a-Lago. And
Welcome to the Court of History.
man.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me go over here. Hit the like button. Let me hear this one before I go. Let me hear what he's saying.
Are not well suited to the task.
Oh, I don't want to hear about tariffs.
The volume of refunds. They say in paragraph
I don't wanna
17
hear
of
about
his
tariffs.
affidavit,
I don't want to hear about tariffs. Hold on. He don't want to give us back our money. He got a ruling, another ruling. Let me hear Joe. He done lost.
Is that it's
He done lost one of his top
this
supporters.
one's nuts.
Joe Rogan, the man with the audience that Donald Trump put a saddle on and rode across the election finish line, just announced Trump's war in the harshest terms possible. And if your bingo card includes the words nuts, insane, betrayed, and World War III on the same line, please get it out, because you're just one square away from winning. Let's jump right into the highlights I've curated for you from his just posted episode with journalist Michael Schellenberger.
This whole in Iran thing, man, like, did you see this coming?
No, definitely. I don't know. I mean, who did? When did he even decide for it? They're just going for an assertion of American power in service of American interests. And then what happens in Iran, what happens in Venezuela, I don't think they care that much about.
Neither thing made any sense to me. The Venezuela thing, I mean, look, they wanted him out forever.
and he definitely stole the election to get in there in the first place, and he was a dictator. But at least that one was at least clean. To go in, kidnap him, get him out. This one's nuts.
Like Trump is in charge. You know,
No,
like,
he's
I think
shocked
that's
about
one of the big lessons
Rogan.
from this, and I think that means that there's not a lot of like second order thinking here. Like, oh, what's the move after that? He doesn't know. He's just acting. That's what's so wild about it, is that this older foreign policy establishment, which, you know, was like, let the experts decide what the right foreign policy, you know, all these think tanks, and that's just gone now. It's just irrelevant in this.
Which just doesn't make any sense to me unless we're acting on someone else's interests, like particularly Israel's interests. Just didn't make any sense to me. Like, if they had supposedly dismantled their chances of making a nuclear bomb, whether or not that's true, or, I mean, it's so hard to know.
He was unsatisfied, and just like he was like, I'm not getting anywhere in these negotiations, and I'm going to replace the person I'm negotiating with. It's just, you know, turn over the table, like change things up. You're not getting anywhere, and you could say he was too impatient. I mean, their view was the Democrats were too patient with Iran. They kept trying with Iran. They weren't giving them what they wanted. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, I think that's what explains it. They haven't done a very good job explaining it, because I think that it just sounds to some extent like what it is, which is that they're acting without. They're sort of like, well, does it result in regime change in Iran? We don't know. They might say that we want that or whatever, but that's not ultimately. They're not acting on the basis of achieving regime change.
Which just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
Well,
so what, if anything, makes sense to you about this attack in Iran?
I don't know that I'm not sure what I think of it. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, the whole older system was that you had this international, you know, Security Council would have to agree. The Congress would have to agree. That's all gone now. I mean, it's just a totally different. This guy is just acting. You know, he says he's not getting where they want to get in the negotiations with the Iranians, so he says we have some leverage over you and we're going to use it. Similarly,
but clearly Israel wanted this.
Israel has its own motivations, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's not quite accurate to say that. I just don't think I think all the evidence shows that Trump is his own man and he's the president.
You really think it's that simple? Trump's doing what he wants to do, and that's it?
Yes.
You don't think people are influencing him? Because there's a lot of war hawks around him, right? There's a lot of people that want this and have for a long time.
I mean, Netanyahu's in there, but then Tucker was in there a bunch. But I think he listens to everybody, but I just don't think it's. Russians aren't behind him. Israelis. I mean, Trump is. Look what he's been through. I mean, he's got where he is. There's no way he's gonna. They don't have anything on him. That's
how do you know that?
I don't think they have anything on him.
But how do you know
behave that way? Well, they could, but we don't see any evidence for it.
Well, you wouldn't see any evidence until it broke out, until they released it.
Yeah, and we'll get. I'm sure we'll get into Epstein, but I mean, I just think when you don't have evidence of something, then you can't assume that it's happening. I haven't seen any evidence. I've seen evidence that Trump is fully independent.
So those were the causes, Trump being insane being the primary one, and now the conversation turns to the very chilling effects, including a mention of World War III.
Did you read the thing today that came out? That
he doesn't go through Congress like he's supposed to. No, he bypasses. He breaks the law in everything that he do. He's a criminal.
Iranians have?
Yeah.
Treason.
But I'm not surprised.
Right.
Sounds bad.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that obviously, that was the first thing I thought of, was like, oh great, are we going to get a bunch of Iranian suicide bombers in the United States now? It's not.
And we have no idea, like, what is waiting. I mean, I'm sure there's some intelligence agencies that have an understanding of what the threat is.
I hope so. I mean, I think we see that these terrorists are able to do an incredible amount of damage with pretty simple rifles.
The whole situation internationally has been so tense already, with what's going on in Gaza, with what's going on in Ukraine. It's like, and to add this to the pile, it's like, I mean, it genuinely feels like there's a real possibility that we might be entering World War III.
In addition to Rogan, Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly have also jumped from the Trump train and denounced his lawless war. But there was a time when they all dismissed the crazy. If given a choice, would you trust the military?
Hold on. Hold on. Somebody trying to pray for him. Hold on, yeah, I'm trying to get. Where's it at? Hold on. Y'all, hold on. Yeah, what's going on? Did I put it over here? Where's it at? Because it was about Charlie Kirk before I dive in. Yeah, it is not. I don't know what's going on. It was exposing. Oh, girl. Okay, I can't find it. Let's move on. Hey, Joe, I'm trying to get there. I just saw it. Maybe it's right here, and I just copied over it when I went to him.
If given a choice, would you?
Nope.
Is that they're
Nope.
acting with.
I'll come back. I'll find it on another device. Okay, y'all, I'm about to go in, and I need for y'all to hit the like button for me. Hold on. And if it's 10 people in here, I need 10 likes. However many people in here is how many likes I need. So hit the like button. Don't wait on me. Go ahead and hit the like button. You understand? I'll stay taking my time doing what I'm doing. And I mean that for real. I can't even remember who it was. I thought it was like, never mind. I'm not going to even worry about it. I'm sorry, y'all. I had it together. I don't know where it went. And watch it be right in my face. Hold on. I am so sorry, y'all, but I need for y'all to hit the like button. I'm trying to get it up and running, but I'm not motivated. What? Oh, I'm sorry.
What's going on, y'all? This is true.
Y'all, I'm having to reboot just so y'all can see. Hold on. This is what's going on. Just so you know. Oh, wow. Maybe it was over here. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get it back up. Y'all, I can't believe this. This ain't never happened like this. I have no idea. They don't want me to talk about it, huh? Wait a minute. What in the world? Yeah, I can't believe this. Lord. Thank you for hanging in there with me.
All right, you guys. In today's episode of Everybody Grieves Differently, and by the way, I should say we are in like season 17, episode 4. You know, the writers are running out of ideas and they're just putting up things that
Oh
don't even
no,
make
that's
sense
my
anymore. Yeah, well, on today's episode, President Trump has appointed Erika Kirk to the
my
Air Force
rain.
Academy's
I sleep
Board
with
of
the
Visitors.
rain
Now,
on.
if you would like to know how
Rain and
that
thunder.
further empowers this world-renowned widow who is definitely grieving, I will explain that to you. Is she qualified? Of course not. Not even a little bit. Doesn't even matter. Also, I gotta speak to you about something much more seriously. I have a hunch, a growing hunch. All right, you guys. In today's episode of Everybody Grieves Differently, and by the way, I should say we are in like season 17, episode 4. You know, the writers are running out of ideas and they're just putting up things that don't even make sense anymore. Yeah, well, on today's episode, President Trump has appointed Erika Kirk to the Air Force Academy's Board of Visitors. Now, if you would like to know how that further empowers this world-renowned widow who is definitely grieving, I will explain that to you. Is she qualified? Of course not. Not even a little bit. Doesn't even matter. Also, I gotta speak to you about something
Yeah,
much more
it puts
seriously.
me
I
out.
have a hunch, a growing
He
hunch.
what? I ain't even paying
That
attention, y'all. I'm
Erika
sorry.
and
I'm trying to
Jeffrey
figure out
to
what's
the
wrong
Air
with my
Force
system.
Academy's Board of Visitors. Now, if you would like to know how that further empowers this world-renowned widow who is definitely grieving, I will explain that to you. Is she qualified? Of course not. Not even a little bit. Doesn't even matter. Also, I gotta speak to you about something much more seriously. I have a hunch, a growing hunch, that Erika and Jeffrey Epstein may have crossed paths. Something is not sitting right with me about how she just keeps dancing around Jeffrey Epstein in her life. I am finding it increasingly difficult to believe that Erika just keeps coincidentally getting involved with countries and companies and schools that Epstein is involved with deeply. So I went ahead and messaged PR team, legal team over at Turning Point USA with a very specific question pertaining to a modeling company that I recently discovered that she had some involvement with. 48 hours later, we have not yet heard back. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, let's start with the major headline today. Erika Kirk has been appointed to the Air Force Academy Board. Yeah. I'm here for it. I love it. That's what you need to know on this Tuesday morning. So you get back to work, Goyam. You'll be lucky if you ever pay off those student loans, pay down that mortgage. Erika Kirk, on the other hand, well, she's just being handed promotions. In case you missed it, her husband died, so now she will be advising the Department of Defense. I don't know. With this appointment, Erika joins just 15 other members. That's how exclusive this board is. There's just 15 other members, and they are responsible, just so you understand what the job requires, they're responsible for making recommendations to the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, regarding changes to the Air Force Academy. They're also tasked with providing an annual report regarding the Military Institute's morale, its finances, its financial state, and its academics. Now, you might be wondering right now, how on earth is Erika Kirk, how did she really just graduate from an apparent stay-at-home mother to suddenly being qualified to submit financial, academic, and military morale reports to the Defense Secretary of the United States. And if you're wondering that, you should know that you're everybody. We are all wondering this, but I don't know, guys. Her husband died. That's what I'm told. We are just constantly being reminded that her husband died. Therefore,
Board of
hey,
Visitors.
she could be president one day.
Okay, I need to pay attention.
That's what Charlie said.
I missed all
allegedly.
of that. I'm sorry.
When,
Hold on. Let me take
her
this
husband
out
died. So
my ear.
now she will be advising the Department of Defense. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
With this appointment, Erika joins just 15 other members. That's how exclusive this board is. There's just 15
Yeah,
other
they're
members.
trying to
and they are
place her as
responsible,
a
as you
replacement for
understand
Charlie
what the job
for
requires. They're
presidency.
responsible for making recommendations to the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, regarding changes to the Air Force Academy. They're also tasked with providing an annual report regarding the Military Institute's morale, its finances, its financial state, and its academics. Now, you might be wondering right now, how on earth is Erika Kirk, how did she really just graduate from an apparent stay-at-home mother to suddenly being qualified to submit financial, academic, and military morale reports to the Defense Secretary of the United States? And if you're wondering that,
He
you should
lining
know
it
that
up.
you're everybody. We are all wondering this, but I don't know, guys.
All hands
her
on
husband
board.
died. That's what I'm told.
And
We are
designers
just
group.
constantly being reminded that her husband died. Therefore, hey, she could be president one day. That's what Charlie said, allegedly. There's no, you can't see where he said it, but he did say it. He just happened to say that she's going to be president one day. And some would say that maybe it's starting to look like a Claire Underwood from House of Cards situation. Maybe you don't feel so great about her
Not with
ambition in this
Trump.
moment. But those people, you should dispel what they're
Nope.
saying. They would be wrong. Because the experts have explained things very clearly, and the experts say Erika is qualified because Charlie is qualified. She's literally just taking his place. Anything he can do, she can do better. Yeah, sure. Charlie was a literal boy genius, boy wonder, who had been terribly inclined since high school. Remember, his plan initially was to get into West Point, but then he established Turning Point, and it drove his life into a different direction. And sure, Charlie then built and ran that successful college campus student organization with chapters all across the nation. And sure, that organization earned him the ear of the President of the United States and every major political player in the country and world. And sure, that organization was taking $100 million in annually. But what? Like, it's hard? Erika's husband died, so now she's qualified to take his place. That's how this works now. And that's what she's doing. Charlie, by the way, had himself earned that appointment, and there was backlash going, wait, whoa, this is a very big deal. We shouldn't be mixing politics with this. He had earned that appointment in March of 2025, so just 6 months before he was assassinated. We can all therefore reasonably assume that his beauty pageant wife, who makes t-shirts with biblical verses on them, is going to bring the same level of experience to this exclusive role, because she's grieving. And the math on this is really simple. It makes perfect sense if you don't think about it at all. And you want to know what I think? I think that, why stop there? Why stop there? We're so far past ridiculous. I want them to actually just accelerate things. Why not just make Erika the defense secretary altogether? Why not just give her command and control over the Army, the Air Force, Marines, the Space Force? I do not see a legitimate reason why Erika wasn't sitting to the left of Trump in the Situation Room when they bombed Iran. That seems perfectly logical now. I mean, her husband was assassinated and she's a grieving widow. So, yeah, maybe she could provide counsel to the president regarding this crucial Operation Epstein Fury. That's what we're calling it. We know what this is really about. They're distracting us from the Epstein files and just doing whatever Israel wants, like always. Which brings me to Jeffrey Epstein in general. Speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, who was in fact an occult Jewish pedophile, I wanted to show you this email. I had mentioned it yesterday that took place between him and the Princess of Norway. I had mentioned it because well, I was casually discussing how the real aims of these people is they just want less humans. The elites want less humans on Earth. They do not want us to be able to reproduce. They will give us whatever propaganda serves, whether you're left or right. And yeah, you're going to see this email that I'm going to show you to put it in its proper context. The lead up to this email is the two of them discussing food and antibiotics destroying living organisms.
All
I'm very
part of Putin
anti-antibiotic.
plan.
We'll save that for
How
another
is
show.
it part of Putin plan?
Anyways, this
Oh,
discussion
y'all
ends
kill me
with a
blaming
mild-
everybody else for everybody else's manipulative plotting ways. I mean, why is it Putin? Putin don't have nothing to do with a cult. And hit the like button, please, Jay Harris. Get them likes up. Absolutely. Yeah, I ain't blaming nobody but who did whatever it is that they did. I don't think Putin have nothing to do with Erika, Kirk. I'm not saying that he didn't send some females over there, but until his name come up in the Epstein files, I ain't going. Let's go.
Princess of I mentioned it because, well, I was casually discussing how the real aims of these people is they just want they want less humans. The elites want less humans on Earth. They do not want us to be able to reproduce. They will give us whatever propaganda serves, whether you're left or right. And yeah, you're going to see this email that I'm going to show you to put it in its proper context. The lead up to this email is the two of them discussing food and antibiotics destroying living organisms. I'm very anti-antibiotic. We'll save that for another show. Anyways, this discussion ends with a mild celebration regarding how ultimately that's going to give them the power to just create humans. This is a conversation back in 2012. Let's read it together. She writes, the princess writes, "You always make me smile because you tickle my brain, but I want the data from now, or the bill is mine. It is the cocktail of all the unnaturals that have a profound effect on the early stages of development in humans. Soon, people won't be able to make new humans anymore. Biotics destroying living organisms." I'm very anti. Discussing how the real aim of these people is they just want they want less humans.
Yeah.
The elites want less humans on Earth. They do not want us to be able to reproduce. They will give us whatever propaganda serves, whether you're left or right. And yeah, you're going to see this email that I'm going to show you to put it in its proper context. The lead up to this email is the two of them discussing food and antibiotics destroying living organisms. I'm very anti-antibiotic. We'll save that for another show. Anyways, this discussion ends with a mild celebration regarding how ultimately that's going to give them the power to just create humans. This is a conversation back in 2012. Let's read it together.
That's all that DNA
she
stuff.
Writes, the princess writes, "You always make me smile because you tickle my brain. But I want the data from now, or the bill is mine. It is the cocktail of all of the unnaturals that have a profound effect on the early stages of development in humans. Soon, people won't be able to make new humans anymore." But I guess that would be... I do not see a legitimate reason why Erika wasn't sitting to the left of Trump in the Situation Room when they bombed Iran. That seems perfectly logical now. I mean, her husband was assassinated and she's a grieving widow. So, yeah. Maybe she could provide counsel to the president regarding this crucial Operation Epstein Fury. That's what we're calling it. We know what it's really about. They're distracting us from the Epstein files and just doing whatever Israel wants, like always. Which brings me to Jeffrey Epstein in general. Speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, who was in fact an occult Jewish pedophile, I wanted to show you this email. I had mentioned it yesterday that took place between him and the Princess of Norway. I had mentioned it because well, I was casually discussing how the real aims of these people is they just want they want less humans. The elites want less humans on Earth. They do not want us to be able to reproduce. They will give us whatever propaganda serves, whether you're left or right. And yeah, you're going to see this email that I'm going to show you to put it in its proper context. The lead up to this email is the two of them discussing food and antibiotics destroying living organisms. I'm very anti-antibiotic. We'll save that for another show. Anyways, this discussion ends with a mild celebration regarding how ultimately that's going to give them power to just create humans. This is a conversation back in 2012. Let's read it together. She writes, the princess writes, "You always make me smile because you tickle my brain, but I want the data from now, or the bill is mine. It is the cocktail of all of the unnaturals that have a profound effect on the early stages of development in humans. Soon, people won't be able to make new humans anymore." But I guess that would be La La Land great, because we can just,
They
that's
trying to
going to
make
give them the
humans, and
power
she
to
was
just create
involved with
humans.
that with
This is a
Jeffrey
conversation back in
Epstein.
2012. Let's read it together. She writes, the princess writes, "You always make me smile because you tickle my brain, but I want the data from now, or the bill is mine. It is the..."
Jeffrey Epstein. Making humans. I told y'all that's why he wanted DNA. And I think he was trying to mate it with them, I was finna say Martians, Lord. E.T. found home them aliens. Yep, and he wanted to have his DNA. He was a mad
cocktail of all of
scientist.
the unnaturals that have a profound effect on the early stages of development in humans. Soon, people won't be able to make new humans anymore. But I guess that would be La La Land great, because we can just design them in a lab.
Already creating on YouTube or TikTok? Your existing videos could be earning more. With AIR, we distribute your content on micro...
So futuristic. Design humans in a lab. I just think it's really
Design
important for me to
humans.
underscore
So
to you guys
it
that
wasn't that they wanted to depopulate, and he wanted to replace the people on Earth with these Zionists, these cannibal people eating, E.T. phone home. They wanted to create their own, kind of like the Rothschilds kept it all in the family, sleeping with everybody, keeping the bloodline. That's what he was trying to do.
left and right, that has always been the goal. Less humans. To my lefties, truly, it was never about my body, my choice. Go down the Emma Goldman rabbit hole. Go down and understand who was behind Margaret Sanger. This was always about eugenics. The goal was eugenics. They view us all to be human weeds that need to be exterminated. To my conservatives, who, like me, truly believed that our military was out there spreading democracy all over the world because the West is the best, and that this was going to, these wars would in some way benefit us. Nope. I think now we can accept this was about just mowing the lawn, mass murdering people.
Yeah.
Also destroying history because they want like a forever present, a forever future almost. Like we did in Iraq, like we did in Afghanistan, destroying ancient civilizations, with the added plus of stealing country resources that are going to help them further poison the general Goyim population. Poppy seeds for opiates, followed by an opioid crisis in America, get everybody addicted, encourage them to kill their offspring. Big pharma in a nutshell. Okay. Yes, it is also their ultimate goal with IVF. They want all of us to have to come to them, government overlords, to be able to have a family. A lot of women today are struggling with fertility issues. That's a real thing, and that is not by accident. That is by design. So there was all of this panic yesterday online. The show is trending because we're beginning to discuss the occult. We're discussing mysticism. These people are literally summoning demons, and they're making blood sacrifices. And now the world recognizes that. I think it's now a mainstreamed conversation, which is fantastic. And I wanted to follow up on that note and show you another clip of Father Ripperger discussing this on Sean Ryan's podcast. He's on there discussing as an exorcist the things that he has come across. It's a fantastic conversation. It's like 4 hours long. You should watch the entire thing. But in particular, in this clip, he's going to discuss how coming into contact, Freemasonry, essentially, and how people can raise the ranks through the occult families, how they get involved with these mystic cults in general. Anyway, take a listen.
If you are in the occult, you just arrive at that level where you're doing satanic rituals, or do you graduate?
Some graduate. Some are actually there they're trained in this stuff from the very beginning. Sometimes they're actually
Trained
groomed.
in the very
They'll
beginning.
watch them in college, or they'll watch.
Trained early. Owned with the G, baby. Early. Told you she was owned. early.
And how people can raise the ranks through the occult families, how they get involved with these mystic cults in general. Anyway, take a listen.
If you are in the occult, you just arrive at that level where you're doing satanic rituals, or do you graduate?
Some graduate. Some are actually they're trained in this stuff from the very beginning. Sometimes they're actually groomed. They'll watch them in college, or they'll watch them and then they'll
Watch them
introduce
in Liberty.
through various secret
Tea
societies.
sippers, Liberty.
They'll get them into
University.
The There's a few of these people,
Jerry
not many
Falwell.
of them, that are actually part of a pedigree or history
There we
that
go.
extends back to the late 1500s, 1600s, where the occult practices has been their family lineage literally for 300 to 400 years.
Absolutely.
And so
Rothschilds.
they're so proficient in the knowledge about how this stuff works and what is actually involved. They know that there's demons and God, etc., and they know that their activity in the occult is getting demons actually involved. They fully know that. In fact, their knowledge of this stuff is almost on the same level as mine. And so they have a full understanding.
You graduate.
Some graduate. Some are actually they're trained in this stuff from the very beginning. Sometimes they're actually groomed. They'll watch them in college, or they'll
Please hit the like button.
introduce them into this through various secret societies and things of that sort. They'll get them into engaging in the occult. There's a few of these people, not many of them, that are actually part of a pedigree or history that extends back to the late 1500s, 1600s, where the occult practices has been in their family lineage literally for 300 to 400 years. And so they're so proficient in the knowledge about how this stuff works and what is actually involved. They know that there's demons and God, etc., and they know that their activity in the occult is getting demons actually involved. They fully know that. In fact, their knowledge of this stuff is almost on the same level as mine. And so they have a full understanding of it, that they're on the side of evil. And so they tend to raise their children generation after generation within that particular occult set of practices.
That is exactly right, ladies and gentlemen. These bloodlines are ancient. These practices are ancient.
Been in their family lineage literally for 300 to 400 years. And so they're so proficient in the knowledge about how this stuff works and what is actually involved. They know that there's demons and God, etc., and they know that their activity in the occult is getting demons actually involved. They fully know that. In fact, their knowledge of this stuff is almost on the same level as mine. And so they have a full understanding of it, that they're on the side of evil. And so they tend to raise their children generation after generation within that particular occult set of practices.
That is exactly right, ladies and gentlemen. These bloodlines are ancient. These practices are ancient. And the reason why they're constantly moving people all over the world is they don't want you to have this ancestral knowledge. They don't want you to know that they're doing this stuff in broad daylight. The revelation of the method. They're kind of telling you they're doing these things. More on that later. The point here is that Epstein was definitively of the mystic Frankist ilk. He was practicing mystical Judaism. There is no question about that. It always involves occult rituals which involve harming innocent children. And regarding Jeffrey Epstein in particular, I want to throw it back to this tweet that I published. Ladies and gentlemen, these bloodlines are ancient. These practices are ancient. And the reason why they're constantly moving people all over the world is they don't want you to have this ancestral knowledge. They don't want you to know that they're doing this stuff in broad daylight.
They're Zionists.
The revelation of the method. They're kind of telling you
These are
they're
the
doing
same
these things.
people
More on
who
that later.
altered the Bible,
Point here is that Epstein
who
was definitively
did
of the
the
mystic Frankist ilk.
school
He
books.
was practicing mystical Judaism. There is no question about that. It always involves occult rituals which involve harming innocent children. And
Plus
regarding
not
Jeffrey
yet.
Epstein in particular, I want to throw it back to this tweet that I published on Thursday, January 29th of this year. It's really interesting in retrospect because I truly did not know what it might amount to. So the backstory here is that I had received a couple of emails from people that follow and watch the show at the White House, and they said, hey, Candace, Andrew Colbert, Mikey McCoy, and a couple of women looked like Mikey McCoy's wife. They were in the West Wing, and, we just thought that's kind of odd because Andrew just presented as though he was live on the Charlie Kirk show doing a phone call with Kash Patel, but actually he's here. He's in front of us here in Washington, D.C. on the other side of the country. So I followed up with them and I asked them specifically who was Andrew Colbert and allegedly Mikey McCoy and co. Meeting with. Could you guys ask around and figure this out, where you saw them? And they said, well, and I'll quote this, the offices in that general region are senior White House staff. It could be Susie Wiles, Stephen Miller, James Braid, the vice president's hallway and the situation room connect to that lobby. So any number of people could have been in there. A Cash, the NSA director, Pete. The cabinet meeting had just let out 15 minutes prior too. So that also adds any members of the cabinet. I didn't know what to make of this, right? So I just instantly put the information out there, and this is what I tweeted. I tweeted, just in case, said tweeting this in case it's relevant down the line. 2 days ago, Thursday, January 29th, Blake Neff and Andrew Colbert hosted Kash Patel on Charlie Kirk's show. It appeared as though Kash phoned into the show live, but he did not. Andrew Colbert was actually in the West Wing in D.C. that day, taking a meeting with top brass. The episode was pre-recorded. People in the White House and all around the world think Andrew is shady and intentionally wanted the public to think that he was in Arizona for some reason. So they asked me to release this information. The next bit is unconfirmed, but they believe Andrew was accompanied by 2 days ago, Thursday, January 29th, Blake Neff and Andrew Colbert hosted Kash Patel on Charlie Kirk's show. It appeared as though Kash phoned into the show live, but he did not. Andrew Colbert was actually in the West Wing in D.C. that day, taking a meeting with top brass. The episode was pre-recorded. People in the White House and all around the world think Andrew is shady and intentionally wanted the public to think that he was in Arizona for some reason. So they asked me to release this information. The next bit is unconfirmed, but they believe Andrew was accompanied by Mikey McCoy and his wife Elizabeth. If you see something, say something. Okay, so I share that. And what struck me as immediately odd was that Andrew Colbert and allegedly Mikey McCoy and his wife were making an effort to fake alive on Charlie Kirk's show with none other than Mr. 33 Kash Patel. Like, why do that at all? In that particular episode that they had with Kash Patel, Kash called in and it was all very performative. I never do this. I never call. Like, it's like, you guys are like together in DC. What are we doing here? I had also replied on January 29th that you can find this tweet to someone, and I said, like, hey, I'm trying to figure out why Andrew Colbert's in the White House. Now, Andrew, the reason why this also should stand out to you is because Andrew has missed plenty of episodes of the Charlie Kirk show. Sometimes it's just Blake Neff. Sometimes it's just, it's Blake and Mikey. Sometimes it's a guest host. Sometimes when traveling, Andrew even calls in for a segment. But this was, for some reason, pre-recorded and intentionally presented to the public as though it was live. I never do this. So I thought through that and I said, a fair assumption is that they did not want people to know that they were taking a meeting at the White House. And that's a very unusual desire for Turning Point USA, right? They normally love to promote the fact that they are involved with Trump,
thank you,
throwing
Joe.
flashy events at the White House, Mar-a-Lago, posing, all glammed up. So then I had to ask myself, well, what in particular was it about this meeting on this day in the West Wing that they wanted to fly under the radar? What could have been the subjects that they wanted to fly under the radar? I wasn't sure. Like I said, felt important enough to tweet
support the
about
platform,
it just in
get
case.
a membership.
And lo and behold,
I'm gonna have to start
the very
going
next day,
members
on
only
January
because
30th,
y'all not
the
hitting
Epstein
the
files
like
were
button.
released. And I thought, oh,
I need to protect
precise.
my tea.
Is it
If y'all
possible
can't
that the
support
meeting
me,
was related to the Epstein files, which are heavily redacted and obviously not complete? And I said to myself, well, Erika was heavily involved in the pageantry world, really her whole life. Trump was also heavily involved in the pageantry world. More specifically, Donald Trump was actually the 50% owner of Miss America alongside NBC Universal when Erika was crowned. And Trump and Epstein's relationship, to be sure, seemed to be centered around pageantry and the modeling world and parties. There was even a lawsuit that was filed back in 1997 over a pageant company wherein one of the guys had said that during a meeting for his company that Jeffrey Epstein was there, which is kind of an honorable mention. So, okay, Trump has never denied that he hung out with Epstein. He said, I never went to the island, but there are obviously photos. So that's interesting. And I want to make sure you understand what Jeffrey Epstein did, how he was trafficking. It's important to remember that Jeffrey Epstein was specifically trafficking women from Eastern Europe through modeling agencies. Okay? So it's a great cover, whether he was working with Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner hands him the keys, and all of a sudden he's like a casting director looking at all of these models. Jean-Luc Brunel in Paris, his agency, MC2 Modeling, Jean-Luc Brunel kills himself. The media doesn't want to mention the fact that they also had offices in Tel Aviv, Jean-Luc Brunel did. And that's how he was accomplishing it, because when you see a lot of women at a modeling agency, you don't go, oh, maybe these women are being trafficked from Europe. Maybe these women are, not actually happy to be here. Maybe they're in some danger, right? It's like the illusion when there's just a lot of models at any event, whether it's a pageant, anything else, is that this is normal because it's just the world of fashion or the world of beauty or the world of modeling. Okay, so Victoria's Secret he's been casting for. And also when you go through his emails, it seems like he's also hand-picking girls for certain pageants. I mean, I've read through some of them. Like he had clearly a very strong relationship with the Miss North Carolina one year. I thought, okay, maybe still another coincidence, right? Erika's in pageant world, Trump's in pageant world, Epstein's in pageant world-ish. Then we took a week off to investigate Erika, and I was even more stunned by some more coincidences, and I'm going to run you through them here. Okay, so in 2010, we know Jeffrey Epstein, based on the emails, begins procuring models from Romania. We also know that that's the same time and year the Black Sea Rotational Force in Constanta, Romania, is being led by Erika's cousin, Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Franzwe. It's the first time America is operating a base in Romania, which is later going to be accused of prostituting underage Romanian children. Brothel, Colonel Otto Buscher. Same time frame, Tyler Boyer goes out to Constanta, Romania, and he's hanging out and he's partying and he's drinking with Romanian models and parliament politicians. Then Tyler is going to return from Romania around September of 2010. Makes sense because he was attending Arizona State University, so school's got to get going. And then that same year, Jeffrey Epstein begins giving money to Arizona State University, specifically for their Origins project. Okay. 4 months after that, Erika, and this is now into 2011, in May of 2011, Tyler Boyer is going to get unusually elected to the Board of Regents. And I say unusually because the governor didn't go through the normal process, and the governor just decides Tyler Boyer's the guy. And then 4 months beyond that, Erika is going to enroll into ASU for her final year of college from 2011, 2012, and immediately 2 months after that,
Erika, Kirk, and Jeffrey Epstein.
Arizona, USA, right, in November. And right after winning, we know she's going to establish.
I need for y'all to get the likes up. I'm an hour and 25 minutes in. It makes no sense to me. Double tap the face of your screen. Hit the 3 like button, the 3 dots at the top right. Oh, Lord. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, Peter. I'm sorry. Hopefully by then the likes will be up. Thank you for what you sent. Thank you for the gems. Good.
This working partnership with the U.S.
That was
Marines
a hit
Black
in
Sea
Israel.
Rotational Force in Constanta, teaming up with them to run the Romanian Angels Project through her 501c3 Everyday Heroes. She's going to go out to Constanta. She's working with Colonel Otto Buscher, that same colonel who's going to be accused of trafficking in Constanta, Romania, is being led by Erika's cousin, Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Franzwe. It's the first time America is operating a base in Romania, which is later going to be it's just the world of fashion, or the world of beauty, or the world of modeling. Okay, so Victoria's Secret he's been casting for, and also when you go through his emails, it seems like he's also hand-picking girls for certain pageants.
Yep.
And I've read through some of them. Like he had clearly a very strong relationship with the Miss North Carolina one year. I thought, okay, maybe still another coincidence, right? Erika's in pageant world, Trump's in pageant world, Epstein's in pageant world-ish. Then we took a week off to investigate Erika, and I was even more stunned by some more coincidences, and I'm going to run you through them here. Okay, so in 2010, we know Jeffrey Epstein, based on the emails, begins procuring models from Romania. We also know that that's the same time and year the Black Sea Rotational Force in Constanta, Romania, is being led by Erika's cousin, Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Franzwe. It's the first time America is operating a base in Romania, which is later going to be accused of prostituting underage Romanian children.
Right.
Brothel, Colonel Otto Buscher. Same time frame, Tyler Boyer goes out to Constanta, Romania. And
forget that Iran, Russia, China, I don't know who, intentionally hit the military bases where they had the child brothels in these foreign countries. Iran said it. Said it was an illegal child, especially little girls. And they blew them up.
Oh, and he's partying and he's drinking with Romanian models and parliament politicians. Then Tyler is going to return from Romania around September of 2010. Makes sense because he was attending Arizona State University, so school's got to get going. And then that same year, Jeffrey Epstein begins giving money to Arizona State University, specifically for their Origins project. Okay. 4 months after that, Erika, and this is now into 2011, in May of 2011, Tyler Boyer is going to get unusually elected to the Board of Regents. And I say unusually because the governor, he kind of didn't go through the normal process.
It's a family affair. They're keeping it all in the family.
And then 4 months beyond that, Erika is going to enroll into ASU for her final year of college from 2011 to 2012. And immediately, 2 months after that, after the semester begins, she wins Miss Arizona USA, right, in November. And right after winning, we know she's going to establish this working partnership with the U.S. Marines Black Sea Rotational Force in Constanta, teaming up with them to run the Romanian Angels Project through her 501c3 Everyday Heroes. She's going to go out to Constanta. She's working with Colonel Otto Buscher, that same colonel who's going to be accused of trafficking and prostituting underage Romanians, apparently up and through Tel Aviv. And I do want to also say about that, in general, why did she partner with the U.S. Marines at all? That's not a requirement. Okay, I went to Romania twice. My best friend was Romanian, and actually lived, her family, she grew up here, but her family lived in Constanta. You can just go do charity. You don't have to team up with the U.S. Marines. This is a EU member state, okay? You don't need the protection of U.S. Marines to be in Romania and decide that you want to drop off some Christmas gifts. Really, you just need an address to do that. But for some reason, this particular charity felt that they needed to team up with the U.S. Marines. I just want to point, no one's really recognized that. You don't need to do that. I can go do charity anywhere in Europe right now. It doesn't demand a partnership with the U.S. Marines. It's very strange. Then we have in 2014, 2015, Erika begins tweeting that she's a casting director or casting recruiter in Los Angeles. The same time, she's kind of trying to break into the industry herself, which we've shown. And I also want to say that during this time that she's trying to get involved in reality TV, We find her floating around Mark Burnett. Mark Burnett is also running Mark Burnett Productions. He's running Trump's Apprentice show. A lot of synergy happening around this time. I do believe that Erika knew Donald Trump before she ever met Charlie Kirk. I think that's honestly evident. And so it really makes you wonder. This kind of brings in Colvette, because Kairos Company is working with Mark Burnett via Johnny Moore. It's very weird around this time frame, but it's this next little time frame that I want to get to you guys on. All right, so I'll tell you how I got this information. I had received a tip a while ago saying, hey, their next model management in New York City, Faith Cates, who was the co-founder of it, had to step down because of her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. She's like in his emails like 4,000 times. Even after he got arrested for pedophilia, she's like, I will never betray you. I will never, ever betray you. Like, I've got your back to the end. I think that's honestly evident. And so it really makes you wonder. This kind of brings in Colvette, because Kairos Company is working with Mark Burnett via Johnny Moore. It's very weird around this time frame, but it's this next little time frame that I want to get to you guys on. All right, so I'll tell you how I got this information. I had received a tip a while ago saying, hey, their next model management in New York City, Faith Cates, who was the co-founder of it, had to step down because of her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. She's like in his emails like 4,000 times. Even after he got arrested for pedophilia, she's like, I will never betray you. I will never, ever betray you. Like, I've got your back to the end. She was very close. I mean, look, she's inviting him here in this email to her son's bar mitzvah. And this person said, just so you know, Erika was involved with Next Model Management, right? So this is a tip. And this person did not work with Next Model Management. So I was like, okay, tip, I'll see where it leads, kind of investigate things. Then I kind of reach into some old contact cards. I'm going, that would be very curious, because Next Model Management apparently had tons of Eastern European girls all around the office. And like I said, you can look more into the Faith Cates thing, but it's not great. Right? It's not great. The relationship that Faith Cates had with Jeffrey Epstein, Eastern European models all around Next Model Management office. He was helping this model agency in particular. And so I decided to see if I could get some more people to verify that Erika was involved. What was she doing? Was she modeling? No. Well, I was able to confirm it.
She
not
was
just
recruiting.
Once, not twice, 3 times, 4 times with people with direct knowledge that Erika Kirk was multiple times taking meetings at Next Model Management and dealing with the people, like the suits that would surround Faith Cates, people like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, they did not say they saw her meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, but they said essentially Jeffrey Epstein was always there because he was so close with Faith. This cannot be denied. You can go through their emails. They're very close. And so he would sometimes come in and he would take a meeting. And so he would just kind of, when you're friends with someone, I'm going to take an office, and nobody knew what the context of these meetings were. They are saying that in meetings like that, meaning Erika was not there because of a modeling contract or because they don't know why she was there. They don't know why Erika was in that same category of suits, right? Of just like suits, and they were not to ask questions, and Erika is there and she's taking meetings at Next Model Management. So now, feeling 100% certain that this information was real, like I said, confirming it 4 ways, I decided to go out and ask Erika what she was doing there. Because if people with intimate knowledge situation don't know what she was doing there, that's not great, right? What are the chances? What does Erika have to do with Next Model
I need for y'all to hit the like button.
What is she doing there? And I went out to her, and I, of course, copied the spokesperson, Andrew Colvette, and I said, what specifically were you doing at Next Model Management in New York City? What's up? What do you do? Did you run into Epstein? Like, I just want to know, like, what is your relationship with Faith? How about that?
Child trafficking,
give me the context of
the
this.
military.
Crickets.
Yep.
I feel like that would be a very easy email to answer. One question: what is the context of your relationship with Next Model Management? We've now confirmed that you were taking meetings here. What was the nature of those meetings? And I mentioned, she's obviously had a falling out regarding she had to step down because of the Epstein emails, and she retired. So that was like the nice way of, I'm deciding to retire. And nothing. Wouldn't you just answer that instantly? Like if someone just emailed me and said, "What is the context? You know, you're ASU, you got Romania going on, you know, this modeling agency," and they said that there were constantly Eastern European models all over the office. I mean, like it was just everywhere, and Epstein would just come all the time. Like, you know, this was his friend. Why wouldn't he come into his friend's office? Wouldn't you like rank that really high in terms of just giving a comment and being like, "Oh, I was there for," I don't know what would be an appropriate answer. I literally don't know what would be an appropriate answer. I don't know why I should be there. But wouldn't you just offer that answer if there was a good answer?
Look, if you're tired of just getting by financially, if you've looked at ways to make money from home, but you can't find a...
I find it to be very strange. I find that to be very strange, especially when we now add in the fact, going back to the way that she's dancing around Epstein,
Erika, Kirk,
Romania,
busted.
ASU. Now we have
I mean,
next
we
model
already knew
management
that.
specifically, and real estate. We can't get an answer on that. Erika, being the busiest person in the world in 2018, receiving degrees, starting and running a business, a clothing company, also taking interviews with Turning Point because she's going to help them, but then falling in love with Charlie. She also unusually receives her New York real estate license to work with Corcoran Real Estate. And that is under the stewardship of Pam Lehman. It featured in the Epstein files, was helping him with real estate deals. But also, we can't find any real estate deals that Erika completed in New York. And real estate agents are reaching out to me saying, "You can't just get a license and work for Corcoran. That's not how the real estate world works." I guess they have certain requirements. They're like, this is backdoor stuff. Somebody just made that happen for her. And there does, like I said, does not appear to be any record of her having completed that, but we do then learn via Jeffrey Epstein's emails that the president of the Corcoran Group is actually Linda Rothschild. And Jeffrey Epstein is working directly for the Rothschilds. He himself is saying that Corcoran Real Estate Group is all over his emails, okay? It says it right there. Someone read a background on Linda Rothschild. It has all of her different names that she uses and also has her listed as the president of the Corcoran Group. What was Erika doing for the Corcoran Group? Who got her that job? Who recalls sitting with Erika for her real estate license? Do you do it online? I don't know. I'm ignorant about real estate license. I will say that. But I do know that there is a general understanding that if you want to move money, real estate is a very good way to do that. It's a very good way to do that. It's a good cover if you're trying to move money. Real estate's a very productive means to do that. And I am starting to have just how many times can her life path keep intersecting with Jeffrey Epstein before it's weird? Her relationship with Trump. Trump just like, here, something is not feeling right. Jeffrey, we got him gaslighting us. We got Andrew Colvett. We got this meeting at the White House that they didn't brag about. They love the photos. They love the photo ops. They're there the evening before, and they're in the West Wing. Yeah, they met with someone very important about, like, hey, can't you just come out and say what you were meeting about? What was the context of that meeting? I would like to know. I mean, you guys are saying everything else. Something is not right. That's almost redundant at this point, the fact that something is not right with Erika, but I would like an answer as to what specifically Erika was doing, sitting down in offices with suits at the next model management company. I think that's a very simple question to ask. There may be a very simple answer. We will see. We'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, thanks to you, last year, Preborn helped to rescue over 80,000 babies, and today you can help save even more. Every single day, thousands of women hear the same devastating lie that abortion is their only option, that they're...
I need for y'all to get the likes up, like, real quick.
Nature.com.
Get the likes up, please.
entire Erika story feels like, as I referred to on the show, as the
Thank you,
Midas
Miss
touch. Somebody
Tom.
just pulling her through the ranks at all times. I don't know if she's even smart, but they're telling us that she's like the brightest in the entire world and that she's doing it all. And no one can even confirm that she did graduate summa cum laude from ASU. But by the way, she has since removed that from her bio. She is slated to speak at Hillsdale College, and the students have all messaged me about it because they don't want her there. And they similarly just feel like she's just being hoisted upon them. And you just go, the woman I'm speaking to, like that we're listening rather to her speak, is not a super genius. You didn't have to guess whether Charlie Kirk was a genius. You know what I mean? They're just like, she is. She's so qualified, hyper qualified. We can't show you where on the resume where she's qualified or how you go from like modeling agencies and dating reality shows and pageantry to where she is now, the Department of Defense. No one can explain that, and they don't even care to. It's giving Jeffrey Epstein when he just like becomes a math teacher and someone's pulling him from the ranks, and that someone is Bill Barr, right, who gives him that job because he's running that school. Something's just really weird about everything. And I also wanted to tell you, this is kind of happening on X right now. Turning Point tried to remove it from the podcast. They did actually remove it from the podcast, but not before the internet grabbed it. It's this clip of Blake Neff. He's one of my favorite characters because he always just says too much and it's never good. And Blake Neff is explained on Charlie Kirk's show earlier today that Erika says that Charlie, if he had a choice, he would stay dead. Take it away, Blake Neff.
Blake, any thoughts?
You know, it's Erika said that if Charlie was given the choice to undo what happened and come back, he wouldn't, she thought, because of what was unleashed by it.
We tried to get like the full clip, they've since removed that, and Blake is like, that's just because of the faith revolution, and like he would be so happy to see that people are being driven toward churches that he would pick, if he was in heaven and given, he would just say, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to let my kids grow up without a father and really without a mother because everything seems to be going according to some more divine plan, and Erika has taken my spot everywhere. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's actually talk about September 8th, because I now feel like now that we've learned more about Erika, the Fort Huachuca story, I'm leaning towards Mitch. Allegedly, Erika, he saw her on September 8th, Fort Huachuca. It caused mass panic. They spent tons of money getting people to attack me. And that now, with everything we know about the way Erika moves, didn't really know in the beginning how to feel. But I'd like to add, I guess, just some more data points to September 8th. Now, remember, Erika's claim before they sent me a cease and desist was that she was making dinner for Charlie that night, but no one else has been able to independently confirm that. Frank Turek does make the claim that Charlie had dinner with his family, but he doesn't mention Erika, he doesn't say his wife, and I find that to be interesting because I think Frank Turek is actually a smarter person involved in this. He hasn't made the same mistakes as everybody else. He's he says just enough. So this could just as easily mean that Charlie had dinner with the kids. That's the vibe that I get from September 8th. We're going to go through this timeline, is that Charlie was the parent that night.
I really
Listen to what Frank Turek had to say.
You know, the last walk we went on, Megan, was Monday night, so the terrible day was Wednesday. And so we spent some time Monday, and then we both went to dinner. He wanted to have dinner with the family, he's a family man. So he said, hey, can you come back at about 8? We'll go on a walk. I said, yeah, okay. So I came back down at 8, and I texted him. I said, okay, I'm about here. He said, coming out. And then a minute later, he said, shortly, Gigi just got up. So he was obviously taking care of the baby, taking care of his daughter, because that's the kind of person he was. And then we went on this long walk, and there were two major issues that kept coming up. that he wanted to be better at.
So we received an email which made this even more interesting. I don't even know how I missed this, but they said, Candace, Charlie on September 8th was very obviously watching the Bears football game. He's a massive Chicago Bears fan. Everybody knows that. And it was like kind of always this feature on his show of him being upset with the chronic upsets that comes apparently with being a Chicago Bears fan. And he recounted with remarkable detail, at least, and this is again, I'm happy to yield and err on the side of caution, but I think we can confidently state that Charlie definitively watched the second half of that game glued to his screen. Take a listen to Charlie discussing the Bears game on September 8th.
Blake is such a Packers fan. He said, what should we talk about? Well, talk about the Bears. I'm not talking about the Bears, okay? See, I even put in my group chat, I said, the Bears are winning by 14
Hey,
points.
Crystal.
This is a very strange thing. I don't know how to handle it. The Bears put on a masterclass in one of the worst coach games in the history of football. It was so bad. They challenge in the second. You never do this in the second half. You should be smacked across the face. He challenged what was not even a close call of Noah Sewell, with a fumble. What happens when you lose a challenge? You lose a timeout. So you lose a timeout, you need to stop the clock, and they only have 2 timeouts left, and they can't do that. And then some rocket scientist on the Bears, I'm screaming at my TV, I woke up, remember, they decide, well, we have to kick the ball, and it was like 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, okay? And they're down by 3 points. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. So with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, you have to make sure that the ball either goes out of bounds or that you kick it off so they can't do a turn. You only have 1 timeout left. Why does that matter? Well, because then the 2-minute warning stops the clock, and that is a built-in timeout for when the Vikings run the ball inevitably. What do? They allow the Vikings to return the ball. They're basically ending the game.
I don't think there's any question that Charlie watched the second half of that game, and he says he was screaming at his TV, okay? So we are now able to tighten up that schedule on September 8th. I'm going to show you guys that. What we have here.
Lying. She just a straight up a liar.
You never do this in the second half. You should be smacked across the face. He challenged what was not even a close call of Noah Sewell, with a fumble. What happens when you lose a challenge? You lose a timeout. So you lose a timeout, you need to stop the clock, and they only have 2 timeouts left, and they can't do that. And then some rocket scientist on the Bears, I'm screaming at my TV, I woke up, remember, they decide, well, we have to kick the ball, and it was like 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, okay? And they're down by 3 points. 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. So with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left, you have to make sure that the ball either goes out of bounds or that you kick it off so they can't do a turn. You only have 1 timeout left. Why does that matter? Well, because then the 2-minute warning stops the clock, and that is a built-in timeout for when the Vikings run the ball inevitably. What do? They allow the Vikings to return the ball. They're basically ending the game.
I don't think there's any question that Charlie watched the second half of that game, and he says he was screaming at his TV, okay? So we are now able to tighten up that schedule on September 8th. I'm going to show you guys that, what we have here going on. First and foremost, I do want to note that that article appears in the Jezebel.com regarding the witch's cursed place on Charlie's life. That was at 9:49 a.m. All of this is in Arizona time.
The witch's curse.
9:49 a.m. that article appears in Jezebel regarding a witch's curse that was placed on Charlie. Exactly 1 hour later, to the minute, Erika breaks her years-long Twitter silence, and she tweets out a Bible verse, Ephesians, for by grace you have been saved through faith. Okay? At 10 o'clock a.m., Charlie appears from his home studio, live on Charlie Kirk. That is what, that's a different episode, not the one that we just watched. At 10:45 a.m., Lori Franzfey has an appointment at the clinic, and Charlie allegedly meets up with her, accompanies her. These appointments apparently run for an hour, so Charlie and Lori are together. From 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., Charlie appears from his home studio on the Ingram angle. There was that notorious picture going around where Charlie looked angry, like he was looking off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got to be looking at Frank Turek. I would suspect, based on this timeline, that Frank Turek was with him. That would track. That he's, because it's getting tight now. The game is about to kick off. Erika's her alibi is going to be she arrived home, and so you guys, everyone investigating this should now copy this timeline. I think Frank Turek was with Charlie. I'm not saying Charlie was angry at Frank, but I still don't believe Frank's story that they went on a walk to talk about pointers about how Charlie would debate and college. I never bought that he was just suddenly in need of so much debate help. I think there was something going on. There was some sort of a crisis that required Charlie speaking to a rabbi, a pastor, and a priest within 48 hours. I think that that's a fair assumption to make. Erika, and again, Frank has never said these portions about dinner. He says dinner with the family. But Erika will allege that she arrives home at 5:24.
I don't know.
And then at 5:41, Charlie is allegedly, as she's coming up, she's already upstairs, Charlie then is allegedly going to text her and ask her what time dinner is. Despite being in close quarters, Erika is then, because it's a very small apartment, wake Gigi up by opening a fridge in the middle of the night.
A small apartment.
Charlie is then going to text Erika and ask, like I said, what time dinner is, and then Erika is going to text Charlie that dinner is ready, which is a fast dinner. I have to fit in everything. And then you can kind of see we've gone through and went back to the game, followed people's tweets of when exactly Noah Sewell forced a fumble on TJ. That's what he's talking about there, and you can see that this timeline is starting to tighten up. So I wanted to share this with you because I have a strong inkling, and it's not a fact, but it is a strong inkling that Charlie was at home alone with the kids. That is why when he woke Gigi up, it would track that he went to have dinner with his kids and his quote-unquote family, and that is why when he was shouting at the TV, which would in fact wake a toddler up around, when is he shouting at the challenge around 7:16, that he then screaming at the game, whenever Gigi wakes up, he then tells Frank, hold up, because the Chicago game is on, which Frank hasn't mentioned that, which I find to be interesting. Might be a talking point of why he was running late. But this is, it's getting interesting. It's definitely getting interesting. That game ended at 8:30, so he definitely was not walking with Charlie at 8 o'clock because he is very clear that he was screaming. And then he comes down a little bit late. Charlie is then going to be seen at 9 o'clock walking with his bodyguard Heath and accompanied by a tall man who is not Frank Turek. So the locals did not see Frank Turek on this walk with Charlie. They did see Charlie on a walk. He stopped, spoke with his neighbor for a few minutes about his upcoming tour, said hello to the dog. Yeah. My suspicion is Frank was there for some reason. It's not, you don't just sort of invite a pastor over and then say come back, and there's something going on. There's something going on, and I think Frank would know the answer. I think Frank could answer, by the way. I will get an email out to him as to whether or not he was the person that was in Charlie's studio when he looks off to the left before the Laura Ingraham hit. And I think Frank could actually answer whether or not Erika was home. It's a yes or no question. Was Erika home? Did you see Erika? Nobody yet, and I will keep putting out an APB for September 8th for Erika Kirk. No one can confirm seeing her anywhere. And she's very well known in this neighborhood. Charlie's entire family is well known. People will tell me when they see the kids, who they saw the kids with, that they saw the kids with Tracy Martin's husband. I mean, you could say any person they know, because Charlie Kirk was a celebrity. He was a fixture. So he knew his family, they knew his kids. And no one can confirm that they saw Erika Kirk on the 8th. And I'm troubled by that. Even anywhere. When they went to go pick up the food from the grocery store. I don't know. Given how much she pathologically lies, and given how aggressive the campaign was when we merely mentioned Fort Huachuca, and I had not yet dropped the fact that he thought he saw Erika. We were actually holding that back. And then she does this tour and gets real aggressive and just stop. My vibes, my spidey senses are telling me, because Charlie Kirk was a celebrity, he was a fixture. So they knew his family, they knew his kids. And no one can confirm that they saw Erika Kirk on the 8th. And I'm troubled by that. Even anywhere. When they went to go pick up the food from the grocery store. I don't know. Given how much she pathologically lies, and given how aggressive the campaign was when we merely mentioned Fort Huachuca, and I had not yet dropped the fact that he thought he saw Erika. We were actually holding that back. And then she does this tour and gets real aggressive and just stop. My vibes, my spidey senses are telling me that Erika was not there on the 8th. I find her pretending not to understand the instructions or the middle person, what we're trying to get to confirm that this text correspondence really took place between her and Charlie and not her and somebody else or two other people. I don't buy it. I don't buy anything really that Erika says. She lies a lot, and I think we've proven that thus far. Anyway, we'll take a break here, and I'll answer some of your questions. All right, you guys, if you are looking to get ahead of your spring cleaning this year and know right where you should begin, go drag your old wireless contract out of the closet and talk.net/Owens.
Can we get the likes up, please? Double tap the face of your screen and hit the 3 dots at the top right.
You know, we're at that point now where it's just weird for the people who came out of the gate defending her. Yeah, they were like, okay, she's a grieving widow, and it's like she's a grieving widow, and then you kind of have to like put your head down and be like, okay, she really is grieving differently.
Yeah, she ain't grieving. That's the problem.
You know, we're at that point now where it's just weird for the people who came out of the gate defending her. Yeah, they were like, okay, she's a grieving widow, and it's like she's a grieving widow, and then you kind of have to like put your head down and be like, okay, she really is grieving differently, like with the Department of Defense and just taking her husband's place. That's why you should never rush to defend something that you know is wrong, right? Because eventually it's going to catch up with you. Everyone knew it was wrong. Everyone knew the way she was moving wasn't right. It's better to actually stay quiet if you're not sure, which was me. I was like, I'm going to be quiet. I just don't want to feel the way that I feel every time she opens her mouth. I didn't like the whispering too. Like there's a lot of whispering she does that is like, he knows. Like I don't, some of that felt a little bit performative to me, but it's like, you know what? That's a opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And the facts followed. Facts followed the vibes that we were getting, and that's why you should never, you just wait, be patient, allow the truth to reveal itself. It always does.
It does.
I am going to get to actually, what was our number one comment from yesterday's episode? Do we have that? Did we pull that yet? All right. Number one comment from yesterday's episode. I cherish this freedom of expression. Its loss reveals the extent to which the French people in France are under the thumb of the elite and for a very long time. That was our number one comment. This is no way, this is the number one comment. Oh, from our French channel. Ah, okay. I was like, I really don't think, okay, wonderful. That's amazing. It's great to have. We do have a channel that is in French. So there you go. Number one comment from our English channel is I prayed for a sign as to whether to join the military or not today, and I got my sign. Thank you, Candace. God bless you. I will not be dying for Israel. I am so glad that I could do something productive. It's just, I just don't even understand why people are dying overseas at all. Our country, like I said, is in decline, and it's very obvious that the priority is just to serve Israel, and that will be Trump's legacy, sadly. And I love how they're trying to, Candace betrayed Trump. No, Trump betrayed Trump. Trump betrayed MAGA. That is what happened. Everyone can see that
Trump
now. Everything he's doing is the opposite of what he said he would do. And yeah, you would actually prove yourself to just be a moron if you think that the literal Never Trump movement, which is now applauding his every move, is somehow at all reflective of original MAGA. That's so beyond ridiculous. It's stupid. Let's see some comments that you have for today's episode. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Hamularicdon. I love the fierce passion that you have for truth. Everyone has a growth arc. I love seeing your mind and your views mature. In conversations, I see that others want to trust your sincerity, but feel that you helped push the culture war, fed slop distractions in the past too. Your honest thoughts here. I've been giving you my honest thoughts. I was a part of it. I did see it as just a problem with the left. That's the whole point. That's why I say this is our perspective on the right.
Absolutely,
and this is
she's been
what
honest.
he would do. And yeah, you would actually prove yourself to just be a moron if you think that the literal Never Trump movement, which is now applauding his every move, is somehow at all reflective of original MAGA. That's so beyond ridiculous. It's stupid. Let's see some comments that you have for today's episode. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Hamularicdon. I love the fierce passion that you have for truth. Everyone has a growth arc. I love seeing your mind and your views mature. In conversations, I see that others want to trust your sincerity, but feel that you helped push the culture war, fed slop distractions in the past too. Your honest thoughts here. I've been giving you my honest thoughts. I was a part of it. I did see it as just a problem with the left. But that's the whole point. That's why I say this is our perspective on the right, and this is your perspective on the left. And it's now become very clear to me, and I would say especially after Charlie Kirk's assassination, how this really works. And yeah, I've been honest about everything. I was number one person wearing a MAGA hat thinking that Trump was going to bring forth change, you know?
Oh, Lord, and I don't know
I caught a lot of
how.
bullets, and I think that that's kind of been the biggest disappointment is that he didn't, at the end of the day, we just got it wrong with him. Or I don't know if it's just this time around, if this is who he is after the assassination, I don't know. But
This is who he
I don't
has
regret
been.
learning,
I
I don't
just
regret
don't
growing, and I can say
understand how
without
people
question
didn't
I've always
see it.
been honest. So I never said something that I didn't believe. And sometimes
I never understand why people didn't see it ahead of time, but God bless everybody who got it. I'm glad she got it. Her light bulb came on early enough for her to spread the truth. You know, you got to give her credit for that. And you got to give her credit for standing in, I don't want to say innocence. I don't know what to call that. Standing in her being manipulated and taking the bait. I'm sure millions of dollars played its part, but at the point of denying them for a godly cause, you got to give her credit for that. She just could not justify unaliving babies. Now, I don't know why she didn't get it when they were with the genocide period, the taking over, you know. But a lot of people are just coming to the realization, and some people still don't get it. You see they final straw when they knew they was losing, and they started chiming in on the Christians. Save us, Christians! Save us, Christians! He was sent by God. He was anointed. This is a prophecy. This is about two brothers. No, baby, no. Israel was created in 1948. There is no way this could be the same biblical Israel. Israel was Jacob. He was a person. There is just no way to move past that. There is no way to move past who created the state of Israel. And they were not Christians. There's just no way around it. So you can't say, oh, she was just food. No, because a lot of Christians still they push that deception. Remember T-Sippers who've been here for a minute? That was Bibi Netanyahu's purpose. That's why Trump said, Christians, I'm not Christian, but Christians, you have to vote. This will be the last time you'll have to vote. We need you, Christians. Then it became Christian Zionists. It went from Zionists to Christian Zionists. And if y'all remember, I kept saying, oh, that's just, I can't get past. Why would they add Christians? And why are you putting Christians in front of Zionists when you are a Zionist? It's as if you are really trying to intentionally deceive the Christians and they'll pull them in, and they think they are on the biblical course, all to find out that it was all a lie. They manipulated. They've been whitewashing. They even tried to whitewash God. Oh my Lord. So you're going to try to outsmart God. And the Christians will give these large donations to the persons in these mega churches, is what Bibi Netanyahu said. Mega churches. They're going to slide this in under the mega churches. And then they started preaching about two brothers. The New World Order. Two brothers fighting on land. No, you stole the land. No one can get a DNA in Israel because they're not natives. So they're not promised nothing. And there is no way you can be promised an inheritance when you don't believe in God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I thank God for whenever she got out. I thank God for when everybody, light bulb, who was falling for the banana in the tailpipe, who fell for the wolf in sheep clothing. They made a big enough ruckus with Charlie Kirk unaliving him for the world to see. Oh man, he turned down Bibi Netanyahu. He denounced the pro-Israel cause. They took him out publicly. Now who else did they do that to? Broad daylight, an event, thousands of people there. Oh, the only other person, and he was in government. He was the president, and they took him out when he said, "Oh no, bullcrap! Oh no, y'all, we not finna. No, we gotta put it all out there. That's being deceptive." Oh, JFK, and it's so kind of ironic. CIA was behind all three of them. And it's just ironic to me that Trump chose to run for office in at that time, it's three people, MLK, JFK, and Epstein. And he knew that the CIA was behind all three of them. Isn't that ironic? And he said that he would release all three files. Isn't that ironic? Knowing good and dang well that the CIA was behind all of it. How do you think they have these military-based child brothels? Why do you think that he was confident in getting the military to move 600 minors after he was told he couldn't? He did it anyway by way of the military in the middle of the night. They were undocumented, so hell, they don't know where they are. The detention centers take his orders. He don't follow rules. He don't go through the proper chain of command. He says, what he say? The law is up to interpretation. So they knew going in that that's what they was going to ride in on and then tie it up in court. Could possibly be years. And he positioned the people in these positions and titles and in jobs that they are not qualified for, so that he could be the one who runs it out. He said he is the Department of Justice. Is that not what he said? Come on, y'all. Hit the like button. Thank you, Starlight. Yeah, hey, Peeper. Yeah. So it was all orchestrated. He loves Israel. Did we not hear Lindsey Graham? He said everybody should get behind Israel. We should move everything to Israel. That's the plan. I've been trying to tell y'all that. The plan is to make U.S. a third world country. He thought we was going to fight. He thought he was going to be able to start a war on U.S. ground. He thought it was going to be Jim Crow days again. Making America great again was making America slaves again. Come on now. Come on now. They still do have a whole plan and agenda. They started taking away aid for the elder. I mean, oh Lord, and let's not talk about the Epstein files. Oh, it's coming out. All the lies and the staged catastrophes, traumatizing 9/11, the Coco 19. Yeah.
Mind and your views mature.
As they said, that was a test run to see if we would do what they told us to do, if we would comply, if they could, put this virus out there, get us to move the way they want us to move, everybody in-house, stay in the house, put on the mask, get the shot. Yeah, all of that was intentional and staged. Oh, we're poisoning the food. We're putting these things in the food. Yeah. Depopulation. Yeah. Give them a spike protein where they will be able to maneuver and put click a switch to make people go into, all type of physical, what's a good word? Disable you physically. Almost, it looks like from what I've seen, to just make people drop unalive right there. Or go into convulsions, on purpose. And you have the audacity to put Christian in front of this satanic occult cult. Yeah, I thank God for what, that we were able to actually see Charlie Kirk denounce the devil out of his own mouth. But he had already made a deal with the devil, and he didn't even know it. He thought it was politics. That's how they pushed it. That's how the bride of Charlie helped convince him. Now I'm beginning to believe that he realized that she was, I don't know if he knew about Romanian angels, but he started to see that he had got played and he was being lured. He was being manipulated. She was, what they call a honeypot. I call her a mole. She was sent. She was one of the groomed, because we heard about that Romanian lady some time ago. We covered her some time ago. After Diddy, I think. Yeah, when we did the rescue guy, the undercover guy that went to Colombia, and he told us about the brothels. See, I thank God for him too. I thank God for him. He put it out there. He made me be able to understand what was really going on at those brothels. And how heartbreaking it was to hear this man of wealth have a heart. I mean, that was some heavy stuff. And that man had tears in his eyes seeing those kids. Now that we know that, what did Trump call it? A calendar party? Was that the name of it? I don't remember. Where they were auctioning off kids. He saw the little boy from Haiti. Where he had taken some street pharmaceuticals because of what was about to happen to him. The little girl's crying, scared to go in the room with all these vultures. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. I may need to play one of those little clippets for y'all who wasn't here when I went through that. And then to hear Sasha Riley, you know, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And again, it don't have anything to do with race of color, because everybody came from the brown, the darker skin of brown, whether they wanted to or not. They come from the darker skin of brown. They just went to regions of the world, yeah, where their skin was just a little more pale. And they on the tail end, yeah, of the 50 Shades of Brown. Yeah, Sasha was amazing. Oh my God. And then the limo driver. There's a whole bunch of evidence in them Epstein files, the ones that's remaining, that Trump did not want to come out. And now we're in a war, and he ain't even man enough to pull up his shitty diaper. Yeah. And even tell us the truth. You still lying. You ain't never learned a lesson. You still haven't learned a lesson. Your world have to come crumbling down. And it is crumbling. So it has to all fall down in order for you to get it. And I'm going to be honest. I don't think that you're going to be able to handle it. I think that your way of exit is how you have made some of the survivors, the victims, how you have arranged for it to look like they took their own life. Yeah, I think that's your go-to. I think that's your go-to. And I don't think that you're going to be man enough to handle your own, to face your own music. You ain't man enough. You ain't man enough. And some folk think that you too ornery, too full of pride to do it. He got a whole bunch. A whole bunch. And if he couldn't handle his brother putting I don't know if anybody want potatoes on their head, but some of us would have went out a different way with somebody putting mashed potatoes on their head. He sat there, pouted, put his hands, folded his hands with his mouth, twitched and pouting. You ain't never handled none of your business, just like in the limo. When that man heard you had that call with Jeffrey Epstein, after you admitted to violently doing the things that you did to that young girl, aggressively, admitted it. You then said, have somebody to handle her. I'm sure my limo driver can do it. What's your name? Now that man is reaching for his briefcase because you had, before that, had admitted to him that he was his first. This man is crazy. Somebody always gotta handle your business for you. You want your hands to be clean, although they are filthy dirty. So again, I'm gonna say, I thank God for the light bulb going off on Charlie. I thank God that her light bulb went on. And I can respectfully entertain her change once she accepted Christ and her light bulb came on. I respect that I'm able to listen to her because she could take us in where we would not, probably could never even imagine, because she was a part of the cult. I can respect any Christian testimony when it's a road that I would never, thank God I never traveled. So I wouldn't know anything about a Zionist cult. I wouldn't know anything about sacrificing kids. I wouldn't know anything about taking the innocents, hurting and harming kids. I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't even know how to imagine that spirit being in me. I don't know how to imagine that. I wouldn't know how I would feel to know that I was a part of a cult that had such practices, who did not love the Lord. This has been life-changing. God bless the survivors. They deserve full justice. I don't care who it is. No one is above the law. That's why I do not accept people over here that want to make excuses, try to justify, try to manipulate my T-sippers. Absolutely not. I will never allow them to make T-sippers feel any kind. I will always have the survivors and the victims back over here. Nothing they can say that would make me turn on the survivors. It could have been me. It could have been somebody I know and love. I don't care. I don't care if I don't know them personally. I feel it. I can't feel their pain, but I can definitely feel their strain. Let me end this, and I'm going to try to let y'all hear, oh boy.
In conversations, I see that others want to trust your sincerity, but feel that you helped push the culture war fed slop distractions in the past too. Your honest thoughts here. I've been giving you my honest thoughts. I was a part of it. I did see it as just a problem with the left. But that's the whole point. That's why I say this is our perspective on the right, and this is your perspective on the left. And it's now become very clear to me, and I would say especially after Charlie Kirk's assassination, how this really works. And yeah, I've been honest about everything. I was number one person wearing a MAGA hat thinking that Trump was going to bring forth change, you know, and I caught a lot of bullets, and I think that that's kind of been the biggest disappointment, is that he didn't, at the end of the day, we just got it wrong with him. Or I don't know if it's just this time around, if this is who he is after the assassination, I don't know, but I don't regret learning, I don't regret growing, and I can say without question I have always been honest. So I never said something that I didn't believe. And sometimes with more information, you learn more. Learning about Sigmund Freud, I just ripped me into a new reality in terms of how the world really works. The Brigitte story ripped me into a new reality because I didn't care about the left and the right in that moment, because I was talking about France. I don't even know what is their left and their right. It was just, wow, this is really strange. This is like a cult. And why is the entire mainstream media apparatus conspiring to hide this very obvious fact? And it just brought me to a different place that kind of sat outside of politics, which I'm happy about.
Everybody who sent.
Thank you for that question. Mary Garcia writes, for many years, I have learned about spiritual warfare from Father Ripperger's books and conferences. What I learned is that demons mutilate to the absurdity, militate to the absurdity. That's what I see happening with this whole Turning Point USA Eric's situation. God bless you, Candace. I think you meant Turning Point USA, Erika situation. Yeah, there's a lot to look at. I definitively think that people naturally felt the spiritual ick. There's an element of this that you don't even need to learn. You don't need to be a professor of theology. It's innate, and that's kind of gets into the intentional push, as we discussed yesterday, toward empiricism, rationality, scientific method, is because they're basically saying, ignore your gut, ignore that thing that comes online and tells you all of this is wrong, and we should stop doing that. We should stop ignoring our gut. There is so much more, and they know that there's so much more. They're playing with demons. Amy Loves Music writes, you have shown Erika's lineage. She is conditioned through her mother and the military. I'm excited about Trump, but over Kamala, who wouldn't be? Now, the Epstein files, I'm so disappointed in all of government. How do we fix it? God bless you for opening so many eyes. I think you meant that you were excited about Trump over Kamala. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been better with Kamala, and I don't want people to think that it's an either or.
Yes,
It's
it
just
would
not.
have.
And Kamala actually reminds me a lot of Erika. When we got into the Kamala Chronicles, where I was like, I don't even think she remembers what she said yesterday. It's like she's on autopilot, and somebody is just downloading new data into her.
No, I don't see
And they're
that.
like, this is your grandma. And she's like, that's my grandma. And there's no explanation for the lack of consistency. So, and then we kind of learned that her mother was involved with potentially the MK Ultra project. Like her mother
yeah, I didn't
was
know
a
that.
scientist. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember at this exact moment. But she was definitively working at a university. I think she was a scientist. I think that's accurate. And also a psychologist, and a lot of weird stuff there. And
Please
yeah,
hit the
we're
like
learning a lot
button.
in the process. Angela writes, your tenacity and charisma in the face of the constant barrage of attempts to subvert your power are unparalleled. Thank you for speaking the truth, no matter the risks, to pull back the wool from the eyes of the world and all the lies. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. He already won, so be excited. I mean, they are starting to look like demons. They're like lashing out,
They are.
thrashing around like demons. They're so angry, and that's how I know we're winning. They're absurd. They're so crazy right now. They're like, this person's in a psychosis. Tucker must be stopped. They're just enraged at all times. And I feel that that means we are very much winning. We should be happy. We should be aware that eyes are being awakened globally to what's going on. And yeah, truth is, that is the antidote.
Okay, let me show you how they have Asian, Mexican, Italian,
Yeah, please hit the
Caribbean.
like
So this
button.
is a
Come
spicy
on.
Dunkin' noodle by Chef Tong.
They can't beat it. They can't defeat it. They're so used to lies, and that's why I encourage people not to just know the truth, but to speak the truth, because that seems
You gotta
to
speak the
counteract
truth.
their attempts at spells. They're
You
constantly
gotta call it out
6
for what
feet
it is.
social
I totally
distancing,
agree.
6 feet, and then you really can just crash through. You can be a bull in a china shop and just say the truth, and you just see them completely come apart, and they want censorship, and that's what they're demanding now. Do I think they're going to grow increasingly violent? Yes, they have shown. Look, the whole point of kind of pledging into that cult is if you're willing to harm a child, you don't harm anybody,
Absolutely.
right? That's the point. When you learn what they believe in through the darkness to light, that's what they think. They're like, okay, well, you now have shown that there's no such thing as innocence and rules, and we are our own gods, and we define the rules. Again, that gets more into what we discuss on our book club. You should learn about Spatianism. You should learn about Frankism, learn about the Frankist movement that they've tried to bury, and everything else will become, I think, more clear to you. Anyway, I want to let you know, if you want to support our independent work, you can head to our website. We've such great new merch all over the website. We always show you the same section, but I swear there's more. There's stuff everywhere, really cool stuff, and it's the easiest way to support us. And also, like I say, pray for Tucker Carlson, pray for Megyn Kelly, pray for Carrie Prejean Baller, people that are like me, absorbing a lot of these bullets, but like me, also happy warriors. I think that everyone is kind of saying enough is enough. This bullying has to stop, and we're not going to side with evil because they're threatening to take everything away from us. We can't do that. God's people, the truly chosen people, don't do that when demons come shrieking. Anyway, you guys, you can also sign up for a subscription. We have merged the tiers into one Club Candace tier for $11.99 a month, and yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can find. Oh boy, I had sent a couple of, but that was so long ago. Ooh, and I'm scrolling to see if I can find it before I go to let y'all hear. Oh boy, cause he had some broken up, and he really allowed me to see what was going on with the human trafficking, and it changed me. It changed me. And once somebody takes you in to the trafficking world somewhat with kids, I'm gonna say it again, and I always say it. When it came down to Mo 3 and then Dolph, I for some reason it was laid on my heart that human trafficking wasn't involved. The Illuminati's, or I didn't know anything about the Zionists, but I did know about the Illuminati's, and it caused me a few years ago to do a lot of research on Trump. And one thing is for sure, I knew that it was all full circle. I knew that Trump would be at the top of the higher ups. I knew it. How did I know? I guess in my spirit I knew because he, well, at that time, he he only dealt with rappers, and it was something about the rappers and the Illuminati, and it didn't make sense to me why the rappers was co-signing for him with black people, and then he would let some rappers out parole, and that's how I knew. So I knew it was full circle. I knew it was some trafficking in there, and I knew Trump would be at the top. I didn't, I just didn't think about the child trafficking, the satanic cult to the degree of sacrificing kids and, you know, eating, just poisoning our food. I just didn't know. I had no earthly. But Diddy knew. Diddy found out something when he was saying he cannot. He flipped when he went into politics. I'm scrolling as I'm talking, trying to find that guy, and he went into politics, and that was kind of a turning point for Diddy, and that is the wedge between them. That is the wedge between him, because he came out with a political statement, and he kind of separated and saying, black people, this is going somewhere that we didn't want it to go, right? So I think he knew. And I think he knew at some point that there was going to be a force that making America great again was making America black again. I am really looking for it. It is way down here, y'all. But I want y'all to hear just some of what this man had to say, so you'll have an understanding. My passion. Definitely have a passion. At that time, I could say for the kids, but I have a passion now for the victims and survivors. It makes no sense to me. I would have never have thought the world was this demonic. Dang it. I thought I saw it not too long ago. Hold on. I'm always trying to save stuff so that I can be able to find it when I need it. Man, hold on. And I don't even remember his name. But I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find something. I got a little bit. I got a little time. Is that him? And I ran across something about PDFers that I had saved. Man, let me hold on. Mm. Hold on, y'all. Dang it. Mm, 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 mm. Man, if I wasn't looking for it, I would be able to find it right off. Is this him? Ah, it was right here. One of them was right here in my face. Yeah, please hit the like button.
Right? Whatever it takes. And some of these guys.
That's not the. He had some that was broke down.
You didn't all of a sudden wake up one day and say, I want to get involved. Is that a recent thought?
That's within the last 5+ years. I jump on a plane about an hour later after I committed to go. My business partner, John Pennington, called me with people selling me children. The interesting thing, persona, if your skill sets, if that's something they need, he said, I support you. I understand you need to go. I said, even if I can only rescue one child, it would be worth it, right? And so 2 days later, I'm in Colombia, face to face with people selling me children. The interesting thing about it, Michael, was I thought, okay, these guys are going to have, tattoos down their neck and 3 earrings in their noses. That's the look. And the first trafficker I met was a business owner.
Please hit the like button.
He was clean cut. He had a polo shirt, clean shaven. The second I met was a beautiful woman that worked with a modeling agency. I thought, these guys aren't traffickers.
Just modeling agent. I mean, now that we know, just pay attention to the things that he's saying, because these are elites. And everything that this man said that day is a part of, sounds like Trump. Elite trafficking, child abuse. Ring. Just leave it like
he was
that.
Clean cut. He had a polo shirt, clean shaven. The second I met was a beautiful woman that worked with a modeling agency. I thought, these guys aren't traffickers.
Were they married?
No, they were there working together with different,
Well, I'm saying neither
working
one of them
together.
had a family.
No, but yes, the businessman did.
He did.
In fact, what was interesting is between the time that I first met him and that when the sting went down just a few weeks later, I was texting back and forth with him to make sure that he was bringing, all of his inventory, etc., for me to make sure he had, so we could rescue him, right? And one of my texts with him, and I talk about this in the Sound of Freedom book that's coming out. He sends me a picture of him with his 3-year-old daughter in his back seat.
Yeah,
Now, he
the
was a
real
trafficking
Alicia.
drug, yeah, but
he
over
was
time, most of these
interviewed
traffickers end up
by
trafficking their own
Trump.
kids. Absolutely. So many times these traffickers end up trafficking their own kids when they get older. He wasn't trafficking her yet, but
These people traffic their own kids. Erika, Kirk, her mom, her crazy mama, uh, Sasha Riley, adopted dad.
what he said, this was so interesting. He sent me a text and he said, after he had sent me that picture, and I was just appalled, and he said, Pablo, they called me Pablo. He said, Pablo, I'm showing you my picture of her so you know why I'm doing all of this. I want to buy her Ferraris and make all this money for her. He said, I believe that God sent you to me.
Oh, wow.
And
Christians,
what was going through my head is, you're right. God did send me, right? So I can make sure that that child in your backseat never has to go through what these children are that you're trafficking today.
Did you tell him that?
No, of course I didn't.
Later on? My gosh. What kind of people are these? They got children.
They in the White House. They lawmakers.
Well, and
please like, share,
I don't know if you know my
subscribe,
yeah, I do know your
get a
background.
membership,
And
please.
that's what I felt I wanted to do. I was that very first meeting with these guys. I'm sitting there. I've got a Navy SEAL that's standing behind me. He's my real bodyguard and my show bodyguard, right? And he's standing behind me. And one of the traffickers leans forward and he goes, Pablo, he said, I have a gift for you. I said, really, what's your gift? This is our very first meeting where we're negotiating this party. I'm telling him, listen, I'm willing to fund your project under one condition. We're going to have a party in about a week. You're going to bring all your existing inventory. If I'm happy with what I see, I'll fund your resort. We had to get him to bring all of their children to one place at one time so we could rescue them.
So did you think you were buying them for your own personal use, whatever you were going to do?
I told him I was giving him $500 per child just for 2 hours in the afternoon with them. That's why I was paying it, right? But really, it was just so that we could get them, call the other traffickers, get them to bring all the children together.
That was the scene in the movie.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so he was so excited I was willing to do that. He says, I have a gift for you. I said, really, what's your gift? And he hands me his phone. And there's a picture of an 11-year-old girl on his phone. He said, this is Princess. She's still a virgin. He said, they started talking about horrific things I could do to this little girl. And I said, if we could help rescue these kids before they're ever trafficked in the first place, that would be a miracle. And then something he said made me realize he had more than her. I said, wait, I said, you say you just took delivery of some? I said, you have more virgins? He goes, oh yeah, I got 3 or 4 more. I said, you're bringing those to my party too, right? He goes, oh no. He says, they're too expensive. I said, too expensive? I'm already paying this guy $25,000. I'm paying him $500 per child just for that time. I said, he said, Jefe, you already paid $25,000. He said, you want to fuck those other virgins? It's going to cost you maybe $2,000, maybe $5,000 for that little one. It's going to cost you maybe $10,000 more. Now at this point, Michael, I am legitimately pissed. No acting involved. He's talking about these children like they're commodities. I've got my really nice suit, $50,000 watch. I put my hands on my chest and I said, you don't think I can afford an extra $10,000? He said, oh no, Jefe, no. I said, I want every one of those virgins at my party. I said, they damn well better be virgins when they get there. They're not for you, they're for me. You understand? He goes, oh yeah, Jefe, I understand. This stupid smile on his face. No, the Navy SEAL that was behind me cleared his throat and I didn't check out the restaurant, make sure everything is safe. Later in debriefing, he said, you know what? He says, that little girl on that phone looked like my daughter at home. He said, I almost unholstered my weapon and shot him right there.
Probably had all to do to hold back.
Yeah. He said, but I knew if I did, he said, we would lose all those other kids.
I have a question for all my friends and followers. Have you tried my wine yet?
Was not even in. And the truth is, and you read about this in the Sound of Freedom book, where the jungle was not even in Colombia. That was in Haiti. That was looking for a little boy, not a little girl. There was a lot of other operators went in dressed as doctors on different operations, etc. But all those stories really happened. They just didn't happen as we showed it in the movie. But that first rescue mission, the Jim Caviezel's
they traffickers. They're doing the same thing that
Pablo to help fund it and be down here.
Epstein
Well, I'm Pablo in real life. I
and
was running a multi-billion-dollar investment fund.
Trump and
I
were
have a
doing.
special set of
Ghislaine
skills from a
Maxwell.
previous life that makes me somewhat safe in a dangerous place. I was a rich playboy full of ego and pride and arrogance and lust. That's what the traffickers were looking for, right? And so and in the movie, Jim Caviezel's like, you know, he gives a picture of this 11-year-old girl to my driver, and that's what convinced me to go. In real life, I was already there. I was face to face with these traffickers, but him showing me the picture of that 11-year-old galvanized my commitment to help fund this, whatever I needed to do. Now, fast forward, 2 weeks later, we're at this island. The traffickers brought 54 children. Now, we have 3 separate cities at the same time.
Yeah, I remember Trump was auctioning off the kids. He had the little girls there with all the wealthy elite guys, you know, looking at them. You know, remember in the Epstein files, he would, you know, check their private areas. Epstein brought the kids. So everything that this man is saying, somebody brought the kids. Trump would examine them. And then the wealthy men and women, the perverts, would sit there and watch the little kids, you know, and choose.
Total of over 120 children that were at these 3 separate cities with these simultaneous operations going on. I was there in Cartagena. We're sitting there at this island. These guys bring 54 children. Almost every one of them were under the age of 16 years old. Some of them were trafficked from other countries. We put them in a separate place of the house because they were already traumatized enough. We didn't want them seeing the guns and the...
Oh, I just came across it. The guy, the Republican, says Barron Trump is too tall at 6'9" to serve in the military. The guy name was David Robinson, was 7 feet tall, and put his NBA career on hold to serve in the Navy. If David Robinson could do it, Barron can too. So the guy now, I kept saying Robertson, it was Robinson. David Robinson was 7 feet tall, NBA player. Drafted. There's no excuse for Barron.
I'm sitting there on this chair, negotiating with these traffickers on their business plan. Hidden cameras capturing our entire conversation, so they couldn't come out later and say, "Oh, I thought the kids were coming to a pool party." No, you said exactly why she was there, exactly what she was willing to do, and this was a dark conversation.
Yep, he was
Probably
7
even
feet tall.
Too dark for your audience.
Google
this was a dark conversation.
Oh, here you
talking about
go.
exactly what they do to these children, what they're willing to do, what they're paying them, everything, what they're forcing them to do, etc. And so, and then halfway through this meeting, one of the traffickers gets up, and he said, "Pablo, I have to show you the
wow. Oh man, I need to figure out how I can get that to y'all so y'all get it tomorrow.
gifts that I
Let's
brought
go.
you." This is the moment that changed my life. He went in the house where the children are. He was there for about 10 minutes, and we could hear some of the children crying. They were so scared of coming out and meeting the men who were supposed to defile them, right? And pretty soon they came out, and they had 4 virgins, scared to death. They had 3 little girls, and 1 little boy. This little boy was 11. He was taken from Haiti. He was given cocaine that morning because he was so scared it was going to hurt. I mean, what kind of monster thinks that that's attractive? Every cell in my body wanted to just hug these kids and say, "You're going to be fine. You're going to see your parents again." I couldn't say that. And I'm sitting on this chair, and they bring these girls out, and this little boy. And one of the girls was the same one he showed me on that picture. And she's standing in front of me, and she had red hair with braids down the back. Her shirt had a little kitty cat on it. She was 11. And her face had makeup on it that had been smeared. She had been crying. She was so scared of this moment. She thought that this was it. Everything in me wanted to just say, no, it's not going to happen. You're going to be fine. You're going to see your parents. I couldn't say that. I took her little hands. I'm sitting down. She's standing up, and we're eye level. And I said to her, I said, "Como te llamas? What's your name?" She didn't answer. It's because her real name probably wasn't Princess, right? She was trying to figure out what the traffickers wanted her to say, and I just said, "Está bien. It's okay." I couldn't blow our covers that the agents hadn't come to arrest everybody. We were still sitting there in the middle of all these traffickers. And I said to the traffickers, I said, "It's not time for the party to start." There was a delay. The delay in the movie wasn't because all the kids were there. They were already there. The delay was because some of the Child Protective Services people weren't there with the kids. And so I said, "Take them back in. We still need to negotiate our deal." And I'm trying to figure out how to delay so that they're not having these kids come out and be traumatized like that. And I said, "You know what?" I said, "You've just proven to me that you could do what you said you would do. This is the inventory you said you had." I said, "Why don't, if you bring out these kids, you bring out this cocaine, I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna be fucked up for the next few days. Why don't we pencil our deal right now?" I was simply trying to delay until the agents came. I had to bring out a notebook and a pen, and I started taking notes about a business plan. And I had negotiated hundreds of business plans in my career. This was second nature to me. But this one was like no other. When the inventory, when the product is children, the conversation gets really, really dark, really quickly. And I was delaying with this. Finally, the agent still hadn't come. And I said, I had this one last stroke of genius, really was God just saying, "Paul, this is what you should say." I said, "You know what?" I said, the conversation had gotten so dark, that I couldn't even breathe because of what they were talking about. It was literally a business plan about what you do to the kids and where you get them and how you, all of this stuff. And I couldn't even breathe. It was getting so dark. So I said,
wonder
"Guys,
how much longer these survivors have to wait for justice."
I'm willing to do this.
I hope not
They
long.
were allegedly
A hippie,
renting them to you
gypsy.
for a couple hours.
Yeah.
That's all this was.
Yeah, that's all it was. But it was for the purpose of me funding this resort for them, so they can build out
resort,
this business. And I
brothels.
said, "Look, you've proven to me all this stuff. You brought the inventory. You brought what we were looking for." I said, "I'm willing to do this." I said, "But I want 55%. You guys take the other 45." And I said, I looked at this Edouard guy. I said, you're providing the land, and you put most of this together. I think you should get 30%. The rest of them can split 15%. There was a bunch of other traffickers there, and they started arguing. I thought, oh, good. We can stop talking about this business plan for a minute. And they started yelling at each other. I said, "You know what? You guys figure out what that's going to be. We'll put it here." And it was an argument for almost 10 minutes. Finally, boom, the agents came, stormed the island, arrested everybody, us included. Bad guys think that we got extradited to the U.S. to stand trial. And at that point, they had taken the traffickers off. We were laying there in the sand. I went into this other part of the house where I could get my bags and stuff. And at that point, the Child Protective Services people were in with the children. And to calm them down, they were laughing and singing with the children. And compared to the crying I heard half an hour before, that laughing and singing, that sound of freedom was the most beautiful sound that I ever heard. I started crying. I turned to the agent that was with me. I said, "Bro," I said, I spent my whole life making money, making rich people richer. I want to make a difference. I had a Lamborghini Aventador that I was going to buy that spring. I said, "I'm not going to buy that car. I want to write the check instead." I said, "What do you need?" And he said, "Paul," he said, "I can't teach
Yeah,
my
the
Navy SEALs how to wear
CIA guy.
a $50,000
I was
watch
almost in
negotiating a deal like
tears.
this." He said, "Sadly,
Once I
it's
started
guys
talking.
like you who are the
So
demand."
I
He
brought
says,
them
"It's the
back
Jeffrey
here
Epsteins of the world, guys with
so that
big
they would
egos and
understand
big
my
money
passion.
and lust and greed." He says, "Don't take it wrong, but you're exactly what they're looking for." He says, "If you're willing to be the bait, I'll change your whole life."
My friends, if you enjoyed this video,
Okay, y'all. So like I was telling Janet, I brought y'all here so that y'all would understand that this is the guy who brought me closer into what was going on some months ago. And it was this guy who was undercover for the feds that went in and exposed, you know, an auction for kids, and it allowed us to understand that they have very elaborate 4 or 5-star resort like facilities all over the world where the elite have it set up that it looks like a very nice, expensive hotel, golf on the outside, manicured lawns, high-dollar rooms. It's what it looks like. But on the inside, it's a whole child brothel, where in their rooms they have chose who the kids that they have picked will be in their room for them when they arrive. And for however long they paid for them, they will have them. That's how I knew what I knew. Okay, y'all, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Please hit the like button on your way out.